Hey everyone, today is Thursday, the 9th of April 2020. This is The Gap, episode 511. I'm Luke Lawrie. Joab Gilroy's here, and how's your sort of, I don't know, like, this part going of you, your head, in terms of, like...
Terrible audio. How many times do I have to say this? Nobody watches the videos, Luke.
They do, because someone told us it was out of sync the other day.
Personal grooming. The daylight savings ended, so I just don't give a fuck anymore. So we had to start this early.
Yeah.
Earlier than normal.
No, but I was looking at my calendar before, and I haven't had a haircut in about 6 weeks now. And I haven't shaved in about a month, so things are going well over here.
It's yeah, it's full mayhem. We're going mountain men type shit.
I've been in tracksuit pants for pretty much the same ones for about the same ones for a while.
They're now like stiff as cardboard, and you can like do that weatherboarding.
Yeah.
But we don't make Rolf Harris
references, not anymore.
Oof.
So what's the plan for the haircut situation? Are you gonna, like, do you think you could do it yourself, or you just let it go wild? Because I'm not sure what's gonna happen.
People downstairs from me started renovations at 8:21 this morning.
Yeah. And
so I figure when I murder them all, they're going to shave all my hair off when I go to prison. So that won't be a problem. Yeah, that'll just sort itself out, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't hear them at the moment, but I think I heard some loud talking. So there might have been a group of angry other neighbors who went and told them, have a little fucking common decency, people. Everyone's, what the fuck is going on with that shit? They're not the only people doing renos. Like, we're playing games with Nate, and you could hear like every fucking 40 seconds some fucking drilling shit.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's stuck in their houses, so here's my biggest cunt act of all time, is I'm gonna fucking start doing renovations. And I understand that people have fucking time on their hands now, I guess. Some people have a lot more time on their hands than others. But we're all like, come on, just have some fucking decency. Like, they're literally beneath us. Like, beneath us. Like, below us. Like, fucking drilling with a hammer drill at fucking 8:20 in the morning. That's fucking cooked. That is so fucking...
Yeah.
Anyway, if they do it tomorrow, I am actually going to fucking... murder them. Like, you will see me on the fucking news, because tomorrow is Good Friday, right? Like, it's a public holiday. So if I get fucking woken up on a public holiday by some drilling, I'm just gonna fucking do them. It's not even that big a drop. I can just go straight off the fucking balcony. Yeah. Anyway,
like, rappel in.
Yeah. I don't even need to rappel. There's no need to Rainbow Six this shit. I'll just fucking vault straight over the fucking balcony. You wouldn't even pop your parachute in Warzone for this drop. Like, it's
you'd
not
probably
even that
still
far.
die though, like break your legs 100%. Or something. Yeah.
That was our game, right?
And then nothing would happen.
You're in that game, right? Where you and me both crated.
Yeah.
Jumping off that cliff.
Yeah, because I'm like, all right. And the moment that I was like, you're an idiot. And then about I don't know, about 4 or 5 meters before I landed, I realized what had happened. I'm like, oh, okay, yep.
So we're playing fucking Warzone. We're trying to get into the circle. We're running in, and we jump off this fucking cliff. And for whatever reason, if you're too close to the cliff while you're dropping, like it doesn't register you as still falling. Yeah. It figures you're close enough to the ground, so it won't let you pop your parachute. Even though I've like literally leapt over barriers and it's popped the parachute on the fucking like landing of that shit.
Yeah.
Like fucking, there's no clear. Anyway, and I jump, crater, and Luke is like literally in the middle of giving me shit for cratering, and smack, he craters as well. If Nate, it was still trios. If Nate had cratered as well, we would have fucking wiped. we would have wiped on a cliff. Yeah, it would have been fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Did we win that game? We came pretty close in that one too.
Probably second.
I think we were all on the... Yeah, well, none of us had any fucking armor after that. We were all like... That was a gulag respawn as well, right? Like, all three of us fought our way out of the gulag and we were running back in to the circle from like quarry or some shit. I can't remember. But
yeah.
Hilarious. Anyway, good times.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, before we kick off into more video games or more Warzone or whatever, just want to special shout out to Heath. For our long-time listeners, you might remember Heath as the guy who told oh my god, inscrutably extended stories that often went nowhere, and then he'd arrive at whatever fucking point he was trying to make. He was one of he was on the fucking podcast from nearly the get-go, and yeah, he's one of my best mates. He's up in Brisbane. He left the podcast when he moved back to Brisbane before we were doing the Skype thing, and Jesus, I don't think he could get it together to get on Discord or whatever to do a fucking live chat. But anyway, shout out to him. I hope he feels better, because he apparently fucking fractured his skull, and he doesn't know how, which I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do that.
But the best part of it was the story that he put up on Facebook.
Oh my god!
Was the classic Heath story that went on. It was like it was nearly as long as the ending of the Lord of the Rings. It was so big, and then it gets to the end of this story, and he's just like, and I don't know how I did it.
Yeah, but like in it, he's like, and then I go downstairs and I put the TV and the aircon on. I'm like, and I drink some water. I'm like, motherfucker, how does this? What picture are you drawing here for us? Why is this in the story? Let's like this is a 50. So everyone knows, I fractured my skull. I don't know how. Nah, not Heath. Nah. Here's the time I turned the aircon on and drank some water. That is what
he started like 3 days before.
Yeah, like fucking David Copperfield shit. He's going all the fucking way back, and like
you're like, oh, this is a setup. There's gonna be, some payoff here.
He is the Shaggy Dog storyteller of all time, the greatest of all time. But yeah, no, he doesn't know how he did it, and yeah, I don't know. I think it's either. Can you hear that in the background?
No.
Okay, we're okay then, because they've started back up again in with the hammer drill. Yeah. Anyway, so he doesn't know. Yeah, I don't know how he did it. He reckons he was sleepwalking. He used to be my housemate, and he never sleepwalked then. So he must have developed some sort of sleepwalking crime fighting technique.
Yeah, like he's going around headbutting people.
Yeah.
And then and not even waking up from that.
No. Or the headbutt, in Inception, the kick, the sudden motion of the head wakes someone up. So the sudden motion of the head wakes him up as he's swinging his head forward for the headbutt, but the impact of the headbutt puts him to sleep again, knocks him back out, and so he never really actually, gets anything out of it. Anyway, I hope he gets better. Just spent fucking 2 minutes shitting on him. But I hope he gets better.
Yeah.
And there you go. Yeah, get better, Heath. And yeah, I don't know. Anyway, video games.
Call of Duty.
Oh, I watched some Tiger Kings. I've only watched one episode.
Oh, okay.
But I knew I was in the moment that chick Carol goes. Carol Baskin. Is showing off her house. That is full of cat shit or cat stuff, and then she's like, "Oh, anyway, I'm allergic to cats." I'm like, "Oh my fucking god, this is it! I'm in. This is the fucking looniest shit I've ever heard of in my entire life. How do you have 40 fucking big cats and you're allergic to cats? I want to know everything about these people. Although it's impossible to not have some idea of where the story goes, just being on the internet at this point. But yeah, I do know vaguely where, like, it hasn't gotten completely bananas yet, but I do have some idea of how bananas it is going to get.
Yeah,
how much more bananas. It's pretty wild already, but yeah, it's gonna get.
it goes
crazy.
there. Yeah.
Yep. Nice.
All right. Yeah, Call of Duty. Let's keep talking about that then. We may as well, since we kicked it off. A new patch dropped last night, which kicks off Season 3 of Call of Duty Warzone / Modern Warfare. And they've added in, or I guess they've removed trios at this stage and replaced it with quads. So it's now 4 people per team. Which is a bit strange. I'm not really sure what they're trying to do at this stage in terms of team compositions. It seemed like a lot of people were sort of pushing for duos at least, and they've kind of gone up to squads at this point. And on top of that, like, I just don't really like, they're not really communicating as good as they could be as to why they're making a lot of these changes, I guess. I remember back when Blackout was released, they were like, the developers were on the forums, or the Reddit page at least, every day, sort of being like, hey, here's what we're thinking and here's what we're going to be doing. Keep an eye out for these changes. But they seem to just be sort of dropping changes into the game and not really having any explanation as to why they're putting a bunch of this stuff in there. At least a lot of the Reddit community is pretty upset about them at least removing trios at this stage. Because, like, you get kind of familiar with a game and being like, I've got my crew now, I know how many people I need. And then all of a sudden you remove that and put like, oh, no, this is the default one. It kind of just makes things confusing all the time. You've kind of got to think about, like, how many people you can have play. Like, we ran into that issue all the time where, like, we've got too many people in our team, like, someone all of a sudden has to sit out or go play by themselves, and now we're at the stage where maybe we don't have enough people because we're used to having the 3 people on, and now we're looking for one other person to come in and jump into our team. So I don't know if the answer is to just have multiple queues of having, like, a solos, a duos, and a squads.
I mean, we know from other fucking Battle Royale games that's not going to work.
Well, I mean, they can
Call
work.
of Duty Reddit is not, under any circumstances, something to be fucking listened to. If the Call of Duty subreddit had its fucking way, if the Warzone subreddit had its way, they would never fucking increase the price of loadout drops, because loadout drops are essential. Oh, they're critical. That's the only reason why anyone on that fucking subreddit plays Warzone, is because of the loadout drops. Oh, don't make it so that you can pick them up. You just have your fucking loadout from the get-go. That's just plunder. Wouldn't I just play plunder? No, I want to be able to go find the money and stuff like that. Blah, 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 blah.
What I've read...
They're all the biggest fucking, like, dipshits.
No, I disagree with that. Everything that most of the stuff that I've read is that people are saying that the price isn't expensive enough and that it needs to be switched to put, like, how many people are on your team. Because 10,000 is not enough.
I stopped reading when I got ripped to shreds for
that was an IGN. Yeah.
Article? No, I got ripped to shreds on the subreddit as well. I stopped reading when I got ripped to shreds over that. This guy doesn't know how to play, blah, 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 blah. I've probably got more wins than most of them, but don't worry about it. It's fine. That's when I stopped reading. I went back to see how quads was going, and the entire front page of that subreddit is, give us duos, blah, blah, blah. Stop taking, I'm never playing this game again. They're fucking, like, as far as I can tell, from my experience with that community, they go from one dipshit strength to another. If you don't have enough people for a fucking quad and you've got a duo, right? What's the fucking... Let's have a quick squiz at the fucking top shit on this fucking page at the moment. Stop removing modes. So excited for duos in season 3. They need to bring trios back. Done playing Warzone until duos are added. We need duos today. This is all on the front page. Just ruin the game. Yeah, if you got 2 people for a duo, then you could fill. Yeah, you could fill, and the other 2-player would, like, other people who have a 2-player team would just sort of fucking fill in with you. But all these people are like straight up not. They're like, oh, I don't want to fill. Well, I'm like, sorry, champ. If you can't handle the RNG of 2 extra random players, then I don't think you're gonna handle the RNG of the fucking weapons on the ground either. Maybe battle royales aren't for you if you're not prepared to fucking like deal with RNG along the way. Me, I play fucking solo squads quite a bit. I autofill. 2 games yesterday when the patch initially dropped. The first game I only had 1 other person, so we were just a duo, ostensibly in quads. And the second one, I had 2 other people. Didn't have a full team. We still had a fucking decent run. I'm pretty sure the first one we got 10th, and the second one we got 6th, I think. 6th or 5th. Like, I don't know. Oh, they weren't talking. They weren't talking. They weren't on the mic. Oh, they never communicate. Oh, they just drop wherever they want. It doesn't fucking matter. So fucking what? So they do that. You do. It's that's the fucking game, right? Oh, I didn't get exactly the fucking stuff I wanted. Oh, the circle didn't favor me. Oh, I didn't get my favorite gun. Oh, blah blah blah. That person's got this gun. They've got this thing. Fucking whatever. It doesn't fucking matter. RNG is RNG, right? Shake it off. Move on. Like, that's the fucking game. That's a battle royale experience. Yeah, sometimes RNG will fuck you so hard that you have no fucking path to victory. That's it, right? You just have to sort of suck it up, because sometimes RNG will also favor you so hard that you won't have to do anything for the victory, right? Like, that's how it fucking goes. So, autofill, motherfuckers. That's all, because I have to assume that Infinity Ward, like, based on the fact that they have been increasing loadout drop prices, I have to assume that Infinity Ward are paying attention to the metrics in their games. I assume that they've got some sort of fucking statistical analysis going on that's telling them what's happening in their game. And I presume they're only incrementing 2,500, 1,500 increases in prices because they're trying to find a good balance. They don't want to go too far too quickly. Personally, I still think just go straight fucking single use, loadout drops, make them all cost 6K a pop. But yeah, everyone's
because 10,000 is still not enough, at least for quads at this stage. Just
for a quad, yeah, it's common small. It's
nearly just over 2,000 each, which is nothing. It's about as less as it was before.
It's less than 8,500 for a trio. Yeah. Like, yeah. So, but at the same time, in solos, it's basically not happening.
Well, you've got to start being a bit more active, I guess. Like, I jumped into a game just before, and I had $20,000 or something ridiculous in the span of like 3 minutes after dropping, because my teammates, because it's a lot quicker to now do some of the contracts. Like, if you go to a scavenger contract, you've got now 4 people that can run around and grab this stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
And like, money just starts pouring in. And
I'm talking about solos, right? 10K is too high a bar for solos, in my opinion.
Yeah. And so, like, in the actual quads game we were doing, I had so much money. We basically didn't get into a fight. We did that first leg, first drop, first contract, and I was rocking like a loadout drop. I got a UAV and my self-revive kit all in the span of like 3 minutes. It was just ridiculous. So yeah, the economy is still something they need to work on, and the lever penalty is still something I really want to see them put in there, because I've still seen that a lot, where like people will drop, they'll die, and some of them won't even stick around for the actual like gulag match. I'll just leave. I'll just bail. Like, they're trying to play a different game to what everyone else is trying to play.
Yeah. Yeah, they got to do something about that, but that's coming. And they got to do something about rocket launchers because they're goofy. The splash damage on them is too high. They need to like lower the splash range significantly because Nate died to a fucking rocket yesterday that was shot through a window and exploded. Like, I was already dead because they like literally just dumped rockets. That's the thing, right? Like, you get a munitions box and everyone has a fucking rocket launcher, then you got 28 fucking rockets in a squad. That's ludicrous. And yeah, so they were literally just fucking hammering them through a window, and I was removed from the window like fucking 3 meters back in a different room in a side bathroom type thing. And the splash was still killing me, and then they were shooting it through a window up top, and you can't go close to the window to do anything about them because the splash will kill you. But even from where, like, as far back as Nate was, he was also still copping splash damage.
Right.
Like, they just gotta fucking fix that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got like one shot from splash.
Has he tried not getting hit by rockets?
He wasn't getting hit by. That's what I'm saying, Luke. He wasn't getting hit by rockets. Yeah, they got a bigger splash than fucking Quake rockets. Than fucking Unreal Tournament. Unreal Tournament always had bigger splash than fucking Quake rockets. It always fucked me up.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. So that said, they also changed the weapons on the ground in quads.
Yeah, they have.
Huge changes. Like, some really fucking good guns are dropping and stuff. You get some really good stuff.
I seem to notice there's more greens on the ground, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
I had like silenced AKs and things like that as I was dropping.
Yeah, a lot of silenced weapons.
Yeah.
You can pick up, guns that have thermals on them, guns that have night vision on them. Yeah, a lot of silenced stuff. A lot of expanded mags. Like, they've done a pretty good job in changing the layout of what you'll pick up off the ground. But, which I guess they need to do while they're increasing the loadout drop price to incentivize players to actually,
put some better
use
weapons
that they find, which is good. But
but other than that, like, not some big changes. I was kind of expecting, I don't know, some big moves going into like season 3, but pretty, I don't know, lackluster. Pretty underwhelming.
What were you expecting them to do? What was
like I don't know, doing things like the games as a service, or like looking at what Fortnite or Apex has sort of done with their seasons and making like a big sweeping change to something, or at least changing like the metas, or
like fucking mad changes to the map or some shit.
Well, yeah, or even just changing little bits of the map. But this is like the season 3 for this was basically what the biggest. It seemed more catered towards multiplayer for Modern Warfare, like adding a bunch of new maps in there, new operators and new like, I don't know what they call them, game modes or whatever, that they kind of rotate in and out of the playlist. Whereas like Warzone was pretty much untouched, other than the normal sort of balance changes they've been doing, which wasn't a lot. I guess the big one that's gone in there is kind of like, increasing the loadout to 10k, but how long does that change to make? Like, that can't be that long to do, right?
Plus all the weapons?
Yeah. But, I mean, there's just not a huge change. Like, it's nothing that's going to get people excited to be like, oh, I've really got to go check this out, like Season 3.
How long's it been out now?
Over a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe 6 weeks now, I think, because it was halfway through Season 2. It had about 60 days left, 50, 60 days left, something like that. Anyway, Just kind of, I wanted to see some bunker action. When's the bunkers coming into effect? When are
Yeah,
they
I'm
opening?
surprised that the bunkers are still not open.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ran into our first extremely obvious hacker on the weekend.
Right.
You were there for that. Whatever the fuck his name was. Hacker boy.
Drop Dead or something like that.
Yeah, Drop Dead, yeah, that's it.
Drop Dead, and he had the teammate as well that was cheating, right?
Yep.
It was like two of them. I think they were just a duo.
Yeah. And yeah, like fucking this dude. Let's see if he's still hacking. But like out of nowhere, just suddenly has like every game is a 30 kill game type thing, or 25 plus kill game, just non-stop. Yeah, which is yeah, all right, cool. He's going from like fucking 15th and 12th and all this kind of stuff, and then just fucking
He got a good gaming share.
A good gaming share.
Yeah,
that's what. But yeah, that was fucking shit. That was awful. It was some of the most blatant hacking I've ever seen. He like just lit me up directly through smoke. He didn't have thermals or anything because I watched the kill cam back. He runs me down through smoke and then runs me down again, and his aim tracks me, like he knocks me and then tracks me all the way to the ground. He's locked on my head the whole time I'm falling to the ground. So it's not like even subtle shit. He's just full blown hacked.
Yeah. You can usually tell when you're getting lasered. Like you can feel it. Like it just feels unnatural to get that many shots so quickly on yourself.
But they also we hadn't made ourselves known that we were up there. We hadn't been in an engagement for fucking 2 minutes or so at that point, and like they were throwing grenades up and stuff without even seeing us. Nobody had shown it.
Like throwing flashbangs and stuff at one stage.
Yeah,
like
what? Flashing and stuff. And yeah, they smoked the top of the stairs because they knew they'd be able to fucking shoot through it without having to see anyone. Type shit, like fucking dog shit cunts. I don't know. They got to do something about that because that was, yeah. I don't know. I've been killed by hackers in PUBG and stuff, but that was some of the fucking most blatant shit outside of someone literally standing on a mountaintop in PUBG and like just snapping around to targets, like wherever they are, type thing. Like I've seen that in PUBG. I haven't seen that it hasn't happened to me in COD yet.
Right. Yeah,
but I'm sure it's coming.
I know they made a post about it last week saying that they're working on solutions to try and sort out like in-game reporting and that sort of thing, because at the moment you've kind of got to go back to like recent players you've played with and then look at them. Like the guy that we saw in that specific game, I looked at his teammate was changing his name basically every game, because I went to go report him.
I couldn't find his teammate.
And then his teammate had changed his name, and I was like, oh, okay, so he's changing his name every game, because I found it by going to that tracker site that you put up.
Yep.
And I'd noticed that he changed his name, and I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. He's just basically jumping in there, and every once in a while he's like, all right, we'll go with some other. The other dude's just being blatant about it. Like, and that's the thing, right? This is a free-to-play game now. You've got to really be on top of the cheating. Otherwise, it's just going to kill the game. At least they're making it known that they're working on it, but they've really got to ramp things up. Like, if the guy that I've reported is still playing at this stage, that's an issue. Yeah.
He was playing a day.
Yeah.
He got a 30 kill win. Cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
Unless they're doing them, but that doesn't really work. Of like the wide sweeping bans type thing, because that just I feel like that just ruins people's experience for a long period of time, as opposed to getting rid of them straight away, which some companies do. Like Valve, I think, does that quite a bit. They'll do like a wide ban on players.
The ban wave, because they're trying to make it so that the cheat developers don't learn what exactly like changed.
Yeah.
Like what got them flagged. but still.
Right. I mean, the good, like, the thing we've seen done before is you don't warn them and you chuck them into their own fucking game with a bunch of cheaters, give them their own server, and have them play each other. That way they can still play. They don't know they've been flagged, at least at that stage, and it's hard for them to know about it. I think that's a really good solution to do. But yeah, they definitely need to be on top of it, because I have seen a couple of games where I've noticed some suspicious stuff happening, which is a bit shit.
I mean, what's bananas, right, is if the rumors of skill-based matchmaking are true, then they should surely have enough information to, like, fair fight style ban people.
Yeah.
Right? Because, or like, shit, my guess is the reason this dude follows up all his like 30 kill wins with an immediate fucking loss, like a 29th is what I'm seeing here. He'll go first and then 29th. The reason for that is because he's trying to tank his skill-based matchmaking, so that he gets put back into, I don't know, the greater pool again, right? Is what I'm guessing. I'm not sure. Like, nobody, because they keep saying that skill-based matchmaking isn't in Call of Duty Warzone, even though, like, people have done tests and it seems very, very, very much like it is.
Yeah, something's in there that's doing it.
Yeah, like, if that is the case, then, like, if there is skill-based matchmaking, then they have to have the fucking stats they need. Like, this dude, there's no way this dude is similarly capable of a fucking 25 kill game, one game.
With 12 headshots or something like that.
Yeah. Like, you can see how many fucking, his headshot percentage type shit. Like, yeah, and then to immediately flip back down to a 3 kill game and unable to live more than fucking 4 minutes. Alright, like, yeah. They got to have those stats, and they should do something about it. Bear fight style systems are the only way to protect, and it's got to be multi-stage, right? It's got to be a proper anti-cheat. It's got to be a fair fight style stat tracking anti-cheat. It's got to be a quarantine system, like you said, where you dump the fucking cheaters into their own pool, where they play with their own bunch of fuckheads, right? While you confirm whether or not they're hacking or not, and then yeet them, like, get rid of them.
Yeah.
Right, and you can use the quarantine pool to determine, like, how they're hacking and stuff. Like,
right. Yeah, but it'd also be good to have the mid-game kick or something like that. Like, if you can see someone that's definitely cheating, which, like, Siege does that, but
PUBG did it.
They did.
I've seen it happen.
Yeah, not often, though.
No. But yeah.
Yeah, because at that stage you kind of know, right? You can see their name popping up, and in PUBG you'd be like, oh, this guy's cheating, we need to try and figure this one out. Sometimes you can get them. Like, if everybody's sort of shooting at the same person at the same time, there's a chance. But it's hard. It can be hard. If we knew that guy in particular was cheating, like, if we had any warning sign, we could have sat up there and been in a better position, had grenades ready or something, so that we knew what was going on. But because there was a smoke in the door, and you got killed pretty much instantly through the smoke, it was like, we didn't know what was going on. And then, like, I started getting killed as they were pushing in through the smoke as well. Just like, yeah, well, okay.
And until that moment, I had heard there were hackers, but I hadn't really seen it in action, and so I wasn't even sure. Like, there was part of me that was like, that seems sus as fuck, before I watched the kill cam, and then I watched the kill cam. I'm like, okay, that was fucking cheats, right? Yeah. But, like, before that, right? Like, now, it's gonna go back to old Jobo, everyone's hacking mentality. Anytime I see anything remotely sus, it's just gonna be probably hacking, because that's what cheats do, right? And I just wanted to clarify my fucking 4-stage process for fixing cheats. Obviously, it's not as simple as that. I understand it's not as simple as that. I'm just saying.
Here's some ideas.
It'd be a fucking good place to start.
Set your first radio, your first battle royale.
But yeah, They got to get on top of that shit as fast as humanly possible, because there's not going to be a Warzone 2 or some shit if people can't trust the idea that there won't be cheaters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else exciting happening there?
I don't think so. Had a 28 kill game as a team.
Right.
That was predicated entirely off rocket launchering trucks. Because I don't know if you've seen this, but a lot of people are using trucks as weapons. They've mitigated a little bit with the quads update. It's much easier to shoot pilots or drivers out. You can shoot through the front windshield now, all that kind of stuff. I saw on your favorite subreddit, people were saying that you shouldn't be able to shoot through the front windshield. That was it was a skill to be able to get onto the back of a truck and shoot them through the back. Which I don't know. I know it's your favorite subreddit, but I don't know. It did sort of reinforce my belief that it was chock full of fucking morons. Anyway, no, you can shoot people through the front windshield now, but before that, what you needed to do was basically run around with a rocket launcher. Now they've introduced. It almost feels like they like the cane toads problem, right? They introduced cane toads into far north Queensland to eliminate a bug that was eating the sugarcane, and then the cane toads became an even greater problem on their own that they were never at. That, obviously we've never been able to do anything about. But people started equipping a rocket launcher or a pillar as their secondary to deal with the truck situation, because everyone was rolling around in trucks being basically invincible. So you just whack a fucking rocket launcher as your secondary and then fucking punt people. And now trucks are more vulnerable. People in vehicles are more vulnerable. And so people are rocking the fucking pillar and they're like, well, I got fucking all these rockets, so I may as well do something with them. And it turns out the splash damage is fucking massive.
Right.
And so that they're able to use those. Anyway, that's not what we were using them for in our 28 kill game. We weren't using them on people. I think Tom might have used it on one person just through I think he was sniping, and it was just like this fucking epic long distance rocket. The dude must have seen for ages.
He's like, what's that?
To get out of the fucking right, like some fucking like 90s action movie shit where he's like just eyes wide. He's like, oh no, and then it fucking explodes him or whatever. He's the rocket man. But no, we were using them to blow up just trucks and vehicles, and it was huge. Nate got 12 kills, Tom got 10 kills, and I got 8 kills, I think. That's how it went. I didn't have a rocket launcher. All my kills were, legit. But those two dudes were fucking blowing cunts up all over the place, and it was fucking hilarious. Like at one point we were up in the mountains south of Millbase, I think. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And the road, like just outside the building we were in, the road had, I don't know, it must have had fucking 100 weapons on it, because the exploded vehicle and the bodies despawn, but the weapons stay for a little bit.
Yeah.
And so all these trucks and cars just kept fucking rolling up over this fucking hill, and like the fucking rocket explode, and like they were all sort of reaching the exact same location, this like 10 meter stretch of road, like where they'd all just get fucking exploded. And so they were just like guns, or like basically it should have been the big warning sign, like hey, is that a fuck ton of guns on the? Why would there be shitloads of guns on the ground right there and nothing else?
It's a bunch of loot.
Oh god, rocket! And then they explode. But that was an entertaining game. We had to, like I said, we weren't using the rockets on players, so we had to win it legit in the last couple of circles. And we got pretty lucky that I hadn't taken a rocket because I full ran out of fucking ammo on my assault rifle, but I still had plenty of SMG ammo left in my secondary, so that was fine. I managed to switch to that until I got some fucking AR ammo. But yeah, about it. Good times.
Yeah.
Good times.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, have to jump in and play some quads, I guess, and see what that's like. I've only played the 1 or 2 games. I played the 2 games just before we started recording, and yeah, I'm curious to see sort of how that changes things up. Anyway, haven't been playing too much in terms of new stuff. I've managed to finish Batman Arkham Knight. Which was, still enjoyed it for the most part. Like, the story is still pretty good. Essentially, I think that the biggest downfall of that game is the reliance of Joker again. Like, I feel like they... As much as I still enjoy what they did in that story, it just seems like you can't really top Joker at this point. Like, they did such a good job on the first one and the second one, and they try and make like the overall villain of this particular story Scarecrow, and you just don't think he's as menacing as what he could be. Like, Joker still outshines him because he's there basically the entirety of the game.
Right.
And so, like, the big bad of the actual game is just kind of more of like a secondary villain at this point. Because even at that point, you've got like the Arkham Knight, who is, I feel like, even more front and center than what Scarecrow is at that stage. So he's maybe third tier, which is a really weird way to sort of, I don't know, do that story. But for the most part, like, I really dig all the Joker stuff that they do in that story, with like the, you know, him infecting people in Gotham and sort of taking over their bodies and that sort of thing. And then kind of where that story ends up going is kind of interesting. I don't know what they do next, because obviously we've heard rumors of there being a new Batman game from Warner Brothers Montreal, who did I think they did the Origins game. Yeah. Which was kind of like a prequel, Batman prequel. It was a prequel to, I think it was a prequel to Arkham Asylum.
It was,
yeah. And this, like, Arkham Knight ends up in a spot where you're like, you can't. It's really hard to go, like, continue this story on, because it just ends in such a weird place. So it makes me think that they're probably rebooting it, or they're doing like an origin story, like a I don't know, like a Dark Knight sort of style thing, where you learn about him getting his abilities and sort of working, or not his abilities, but his training and all that sort of stuff, as opposed to this point where Arkham Knight was kind of the culmination of the last two games, because I don't know that you can really take it from then on. But in terms of that, I think that Rocksteady...
What about old man Batman?
They'd need to fast forward it a lot. Like, they'd need to jump forward a huge amount of time.
Give you a lot of fucking leeway, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I feel like it's okay to spoil at this stage, because Batman came out 5 years ago, 2015, I think it was. But the end of that game is basically Bruce Wayne. Scarecrow unmasks Batman and find out he's Bruce Wayne, and broadcasts it to the entirety of Gotham, so everyone knows who he is. And the last actual scene is basically him going into Wayne Manor, and Wayne Manor exploding after initiating Nightfall. And then it cuts to, you know, credits, blah, blah, blah. And then you get like a stinger. And it's like two thugs on the street talking about how, like, there's no more Batman and whatever. And then you see up in the distance, like, some sort of figure standing on top of some sort of building. And then he, like, swoops down, and it goes all, like, fiery yellow, and it looks like Fire Batman at that stage. So it's kind of weird to be like, all right, where do they go from there? But they could definitely jump forward in time, like you said, and do like a Justice League style, like Ben Affleck Batman, where he just doesn't give a shit anymore.
Frank
and he's
Miller.
like, I'm just going to kill people.
Yep.
But then you kind of lose all of that stuff you've built up on those other games, I feel like, with a lot of the characters.
You could do it like telling that story of how you arrive at Old Man Batman. You know, like do like flashbacks and stuff. We might maybe even have that could be the oh man, how could that be? Like you start out as Old Man Bruce Wayne, as fucking Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns, grimdank fucking Batman, just fucking murdering cunts. Like, and you're like, holy shit, what is going on? And like for the previews and stuff, you never show anything but this fucking like old school bad sort of, you know, pushed past the limit of Batman. And then fucking Metal Gear Solid 2 everyone. And like go all the way back, and this is how he arrived there. And it's the series of events that led, like, that go directly after fucking Arkham Knight, and then just have like the downfall of Batman, how everything fell apart for Batman. That'd be fucking amazing. Holy shit! I got goosebumps thinking about how fucking spectacular that would be. It's not going to happen. Now that I've thought about it, it's too amazing to be allowed to happen. But it would be brilliant.
Yeah, and it sort of go away of the like formula they've done the last couple of games, where it's sort of been portrayed over the span of one night or like a really short period of time. Because Arkham Knight is basically one night, and Asylum is you doing that as well. And I don't recall what city it was, but I feel like it was probably quite similar, where it wasn't over a length of time.
No, yeah, that's true. Still,
but anyway, the other thing that I've come to notice, because it didn't happen as much as when I was playing it, they do a lot of switching between characters, like different characters in the game, whether you're playing as like Nightwing or Catwoman, who is part of like the Riddler challenges, and so they've all got their kind of own movesets and gadgets that they can use, and then on top of that there's like the Holocrons DLC that I played as well, and she's got her own gadgets and abilities and that sort of stuff. So there were rumors a while back that they were working on some sort of like Justice League game, or at least this is Rocksteady working on a Justice League game, or at least some sort of game involving Superman. So like looking at the sort of track record of where they've gone in the past and moved their way up, I could definitely see them working on a ensemble Justice League game, considering that they sort of got there with Batman Arkham Knight, of having all these different characters that you could kind of switch between and play their different unique ways. So that's somewhere I could see them go, and then have Warner Brothers Montreal just keep churning out Batman games, whether it's like a Batman Origins, or they've already done that, but proper Origins, like start again at like the scratch, like, or even just create their own Batman game. Like, don't touch the Arkham what do you call it? Arkham franchise.
Franchise.
Just do their own thing. But
well, like going to Elseworlds type stuff, you know, like explore Gotham by Gaslight, or fucking what's future Batman called? I can't remember. Batman Beyond, and like there's a lot of Batman mythology out there that I think they could play with. I don't think they need to be restricted by Arkham. Like, they could still tie it into Arkham, but like, do their own thing, you know, branch out a bit, go their own way, which I think would be pretty good.
Yep. Anyway, so yeah, I finished that, and then I played the Holocrons DLC, and that was pretty rubbish. It's like a 30-minute DLC thing that doesn't really add much to the story at all. It's like a set between or just before the events of Arkham Knight. Doesn't really add much at all. I mean, they try and do some interesting things with the combat in terms of she's not really a stealth character. She's got her like psycho vision. Everything turns red and she can see pretty much, the enemies through walls. Very similar to the Batman detective mode.
Yep.
But she's not about stealth. Like, you hit someone, there's no like wider stealth knockout someone. It's just you just hit them, and it draws attention to people. And you can sort of use your gadgets to like laughing gas or put down like an explosive sort of toy box on the ground to deal with people. But yeah, it's just like they tried to do stuff. It just doesn't go anywhere because it's so short. Like, it doesn't give you an opportunity to be like, all right, I can sort of experiment with the different things they've given me. It's just really bizarre. Like, I don't know if it was a paid DLC when it came out, or it was like just a separate little extra bit that they put in there. Because I do know they had like paid DLC. I think they were called like Arkham episodes or something along the line of that. It's in the actual menu, where there's like Mr. Freeze content and that sort of thing. But this particular DLC add-on was terrible. It was I don't know what they were doing. But yeah, it's got me excited for whatever Rocksteady's working on next. I think they did an awesome job, particularly with the story. I think the story's pretty well done for the most part.
The story's always been the highlight of the Arkham series. I don't think they did a stellar job with Knight's gameplay in a lot of fucking circumstances, but
they really detracted from the sort of the like stealth tactics game. I never felt a need to be stealthy as Batman. Like, you could, you definitely do it, but for the most part, I was like, I'll just hide in this grate, jump up and punch a dude. If I get spotted, then I'll
return to the classic. It was more efficient to just do it the fucking brute force way.
Yeah.
And players will always gravitate to whatever is more efficient over time. But you can do it this way. It doesn't fucking matter. If I'm not incentivized to do it that way, then I won't do it that way. It's as simple as that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Cool.
Batman.
Yeah, I think the rest of these are yours. Oh no, we played Risk of Rain 2.
Yes.
Played more of that. Some of that.
You didn't seem to like it.
Yeah, just like, it doesn't seem like much has changed since the last time I played it. Is pretty samey from what I played. Just more of like what I kind of checked. I think the last time I played it was it said April 2019, so nearly a year ago. Yeah, it just seemed like more of the same.
Actually, a year ago.
Yeah, it was a year ago.
No, you're fucking nuts, man. They've added heaps of characters. They've expanded the amount of fucking like levels that you go to. They've added all kinds of stuff.
Just gameplay wise, it just seemed very similar. Just, you kind of just hold down the attack button, and then
it's because you were playing with the same fucking character you were playing with last time.
No, I didn't. I played as
you played
space
as the
lady.
Chick.
Yeah,
the boat chick. Yeah.
No, I was Helmet Man last time with like dual pistols.
Unbelievable. Yeah, like the fucking basic characters are pretty fucking similar to one another. They're the basic characters. It'd be like, fucking, I played as Ken and now I'm playing as Ryu, and what the fuck? Street Fighter's all just the same fucking character. I don't fucking understand.
Yeah, this guy punches, he kicks. What the fuck?
I'm not fucking kicking. I don't fucking think so. I'm punching, man. But yeah, like you didn't seem to be having much fun, and yeah, I don't know. It's a game where everyone needs to be invested, I think, for it to really work, because otherwise it can fall to bits. I mean, we had that one game took us was like
over an hour, maybe.
Yeah, an hour and 30 minutes, I think, like nearly 90-minute play session.
Yeah.
But by the end, I mean, I think my presence may have dragged you guys a little bit further than you should have been, and so that may have impacted the experience you had to some extent. I don't know, because like you guys would have wiped about 3 levels before we actually finished. Maybe even more, solely because I knew what needed to be done. I knew the enemies and all that kind of stuff. So I wonder if my presence actually impacted that experience because the discovery phase wasn't there. You weren't learning what these enemies did and how.
I know I learned some stuff. I learned not to get that fucking shield thing that I got because I could never heal.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Luke got the fucking item. I can't remember the item names because you don't really see item names. You just see the little symbols.
Pictures.
I can't even remember. But yeah, Luke got the item that replaces all but 1% of your fucking health with shields.
Yeah.
At the same time as he already had, I'd say fucking, I don't know, half of all of our fucking, like, when I looked at the tab
Heals,
thing, before you got that, you had all healing equipment. You didn't have a lot of fucking damage stuff. You had a lot of heals.
But I did the most damage.
Yeah. Because that chick she auto aims, like, you don't even have to fucking look. Anyway, yeah, so, but yeah, you had all this, like, healing stuff, and it was useless. It was absolutely useless on you.
Yeah.
Which was pretty funny. And so, yeah, whenever your shield got fucking whomped, you were just fucking...
I was dead.
You had no fun.
Yeah, like, I couldn't heal. I just instantly died. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
More this spot again.
So, yeah, you just got fucking... Like, burst was just the end for you. And meanwhile, I'm like, yeah, carefully putting together my team, my character. I'm like, oh, I'll get this and this and this, and then Luke was stealing all my fucking items and not picking up the items I told him to, and then Nate stole some. It was pretty good. We were a well-oiled team. We managed to unlock Acrid after I was reading in the chat. It's fucking ages ago. I think it was JB or Baz. Baz was saying that he unlocked Acrid on his second run. It took me fucking ages to unlock Acrid, and Acrid's amazing. Acrid's this fucking dinosaur dude. He rips shit up. He's fucking spectacular, and it took me ages. It was very difficult. I don't even know how you accidentally find Acrid, Baz, but you did well to do it. And then you had to go through all the portal challenges as well. When we went to go find Acrid, when I unlocked Acrid for myself, so to get to Acrid in Risk of Rain to unlock him, you have to go through the portal and then drop off the side of the fucking place where you start. When you come through the portal at the start, you go to basically a shop that allows you to buy all these things using either items or lunar coins. So basically, you then, like, instead of going into the shop, you have to just drop off the side and then make your way to this other portal. You go through the portal, and then when you're in that new portal, if you stand outside these domes, you take damage the whole time. And you have to activate these 9 domes, and the domes will grow, and then they'll shrink rapidly after they're finished. But as they grow, a bunch of enemies come to attack them, and you have to kill the enemies. And I was the mercenary, who's a melee only character. Second of all, the first monster that spawned I'd never seen before. I still haven't seen it since. I haven't seen, like, I've only ever seen it in that one fight. So I had no idea what we were supposed to do against them, but they were huge and they fucking hurt when they hit. I think they one-shot you, right? That's how you died, was one of them fucking slammed, did the teleport slam or whatever the fuck it was. I don't know.
Right.
Anyway, it one-shot you.
Yeah.
They were fucking hammering. Like, the only reason I lived through it was because I had that fucking I can't remember what the default button is, but my mouse 4 attack makes me invincible the entire time I do it. Like, I can't take any damage. So I just did that as much as possible, and I was just fucking whomping all over the fucking place. And then the second enemy, so the first one was the parent, which I'd never seen before, and then the second one was another enemy I've never seen before, but they were like flying, and the mercenary is a melee character.
Yeah.
So I couldn't fucking do it. Like I was sort of cooked.
Hmm.
They were just sitting out the back, like fucking pinging me. I'm like, oh, okay. And the third one was another fucking flying ranged character. I'm like, I don't fucking know how the fuck we're gonna do this, boys, because I can't fucking do anything to them. I just have to keep dodging. And that's basically what I did, and I got us through it, and we won. But it was fucking tricky. It was rough. It was close, I tell you. I very nearly died a bunch of times. And yeah, you guys wouldn't. I'm very glad that me getting through it unlocked Acrid for you, which is obviously a good thing. Because I would have been very upset if me getting through it hadn't unlocked. I probably would have quit on the spot.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, yeah, that was cool, and we went to the Gilded Coast, which is another like secret area that wasn't there a year ago when you last played it. And you have to activate all these pillars at the same time, and then kill the boss that spawns. And if any of the pillars aren't activated, the boss doesn't take any damage, and you have to pay like money to activate the pillars. So the way to do it, mild spoilers, I suppose. The way to do it is to build up a bunch of money, enough money to buy all 7 pillars instantly, and then you just go and buy all the fucking pillars, and then just kill the fucking monster, the boss. But we did it, and all 3 of us got the fucking boss drop. But it turns out
You can't use
that's
it.
pointless.
Yeah.
Like, you can only get 1 of them, which was a real fucking... I was bummed out about that, if I'm being honest.
It's like a summon or something.
Yeah, it summons Aurelian, the boss, to come help during boss fights. So, I'm just gonna fucking look him up. I'm very, very interested to see if, like, stacking him increases his power. The other thing I got was the aspect of lightning that basically turned me into a lightning elite monster.
Hmm.
I had all the powers of a lightning elite monster, which was pretty fucking good, if I'm being frank. That was pretty sick. That may have carried me a little further than we otherwise would have made.
Yep.
Aurelianite, the Titanic Gold Weaver. And he drops the Halcyon Seed. And the Halcyon Seed... Come on, Wiki. Oh, okay, so it just... Yeah, okay, so it just increases his damage, and it's counted for the group. So one person didn't have to carry all 3 of them. So we should have basically, once we got 3 Halcyon Seeds, we should have just been rushing the teleporter. That would have been good to know. Oh. Yeah, anyway, it was good. Good times. I enjoyed it. You clearly didn't. It seemed like Nate had fun, but yeah. I'd definitely be down to play it again, but I guess you're not about that life.
I don't know. I'm just like, maybe I have to try another character. Like the 2 that I've played, it just seems like the entire time all you do is just hold down the attack button and then just shoot things. Like it just doesn't.
You should have played Acrid. Acrid is actively broken. I think I was explaining this. But if his sprint cancels his melee attack, his mouse 1 attack, and his mouse 1 attack cancels his sprint. So what you can do is wait for him to get to the contact part of his mouse 1 attack. So you hold down on mouse 1, and he will auto attack. And then you move forward. You have to be moving forward to sprint. And then you tap sprint every time he gets to the contact part of his attack, and it will cancel the rest of the swipe. So his swipe is about 4 times longer than the point of contact. So you can effectively attack 4 times faster as long as you continue to sprint forever. And so you just fucking run around, running into things. Like, hitting them 4 times fucking faster than they're able to do anything about. And yeah, it's spectacularly broken and hilarious. I love his bits. He's well worth a shot. And obviously, as a melee poison-based hero, he's extremely different to the shooting enemies type that you were used to. So, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Next up, we got Final Fantasy VII Remake is still here because you finished it.
I did. Yes, I put this back. Well, I wanted to say last week when I was all like, "Oh yeah, I was being a bit unfair on Half-Life VR." I was definitely being a bit unfair on Final Fantasy VII Remake last week when I was like, "Fuck this game," because about, I don't know, fucking half an hour after where I was up to at that point, because I basically just finished beating the Scorpion boss in Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is so there's a bit to unpack on this one, eh? There's a bit to unpack on that moment alone, right? Because first of all, it took me, I checked, 17 minutes to beat that boss. And it was shit. I hated it. I hated it so much. Oh my God, I hated that fucking fight, man. Like, it was just I just think it's a bad fight. But then, while I was, surfing the net and stuff, having a look at stuff, I saw a dude beat that boss in 3.5 minutes without being hit once, without like ever taking any damage.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, so there's a strong chance that I might just be shit.
Confirmed. Joab is bad at video games.
There's a strong chance that I might just be shit at the combat system in Final Fantasy VII Remake. But second of all, I don't think it really, like, I watched how he did it, because it was extremely informative and taught me a lot about how to be better at the game, which is why I was watching it in the first place. But, he was switching a lot, and the game doesn't teach you to switch at all, right?
Switch characters, you mean?
Yes, yeah. So you press the up on the D-pad, and you'll switch from one character in your party to another, and you can do different damage types, or impact the battle in different ways, and it's geared around you maximizing that switching. Like, basically switching is how to fight, right? But it doesn't teach you that at all. It teaches you to to mash the square button and to occasionally cast some spells, and pay attention to weaknesses. And I was doing that sort of stuff, but so I was sort of thinking of it, like, in my mind, I guess I was trapped in the mindset of how Final Fantasy VII worked when I, originally played it 24 years ago. 23? 97? 97. Yeah, 23 years ago. Yeah, so I was trapped in that mentality where, because it was ATB, because it was basically a turn-based RPG, essentially a turn-based RPG, you would, the actions you would commit from each player were something that they sort of did in the course of the battle itself without any direct need to switch. Like, it was sort of geared around you doing those things as a course of the game itself. And then the teaching portion of the lead up to the Scorpion fight sort of doesn't really prepare you to switch. Like, when you do start switching in combat, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, it has an internal logic to it, because pressing up or down to switch characters is sort of how you do it in a turn-based system, right? You would scroll down, select Barret, select action, select shoot, or whatever.
And that's because the game tells you, Cloud can't hit these enemies because they're flying, and you're like, I need to switch to Barret because he's got a machine gun hand or whatever he's got, and so I can use that to knock them down. But when you get into a boss fight, you're like, I'll just stick with the one character because that's what I'm gonna do.
Exactly, right? Like, it doesn't, like, well, okay, it's not like I don't need Barrett to shoot this dude. I can just fucking stand in his crotch and fucking wail on him. Like, why wouldn't
Yeah.
I do that, right? Yeah, it's like, as a teaching experience, it sort of fails the player in that sense. But that doesn't make it entirely on the game, because once you understand it, it does have an internal logic. So there was, there's definitely fault on my part there. Like, yeah, I was bad at the game, right? Like, I was bad at the game, but at the same time, I didn't really know how to be better. Once I saw how to be better, it sort of clicked, right? I'm like, okay, yeah, that sort of makes sense. I didn't increase the difficulty. I still played through the game on easy. I didn't give a fuck at that point. Right?
It took you 17 minutes on easy to beat this boss.
Oh, no. I did the boss fight on normal, and then I dropped it to easy after that fight. I'm like, if every fight is going to be like that, I'm not playing this game. I'm just going to drop it to easy. Yeah, like, so yeah, I dropped it to easy and then played the rest of the game through on easy, because I just didn't care. Like, I just didn't care about the combat. And then once I learned how to do the combat, I bumped it up for like a little bit, because I needed to do this challenge where I needed to get the stagger percentage up to 200%. And everything on easy was dying too quickly for me to get it up to 200%. So I bumped it up to normal difficulty so that I could, get it up to 200%. That was an annoying challenge, but I got it done. And then I went back to easy, because I'm like, okay, I get it. And it's actually quite involved, and I may have unfairly written it off, right? And now that I know how to do it correctly, now that I've seen someone do it correctly, and I can replicate the concepts behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was unfair.
Yeah. And now it's your game of the year. Is this where the story is going?
No. Oh my god, no. We're gonna need a spoiler portion for this podcast, eh? Because some of the shit that I'm gonna talk about in this run,
Not now.
so deeply spoilerific. Not right now. I will clearly spoil a warning, but I'm gonna need about 10 minutes to run through some of the problems with this game. Anyway, non-spoiler related stuff, I don't think it's a good game. Overall, so I finished it, and I don't think it's good. I don't think it's getting tens. I don't know how. Like, from a fucking fundamental perspective, I just don't understand how it is getting tens. It's not bad. Some of the problems this game has are so fucking just core to the experience that I just don't get it. I think the voice acting overall, like, just on a, it's I guess it's tough, right? I get it. It's a 30 hour game, right?
Yeah.
It's fine if there's a flub line here or there, I suppose. I mean, it's a fucking multi-million-dollar production, so I don't think it's out of line to expect, I guess, a base standard of competence. But yes, it genuinely feels like they just went first take on so many fucking lines in this game.
Or the director didn't give them good direction to, like, hey, this is what just happened. Like, this is how the line is supposed to be read.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, there was no direction. Like, apparently the Japanese voice acting is good. I don't understand Japanese, so I guess I wouldn't really get that much out of that. I wouldn't be able to measure how well they delivered those things. I guess, you can infer intonation and stuff. But yeah, I wouldn't really, I can't judge that, but I can judge the English voice acting. And yeah, like you said, it seems like the director didn't give them fucking any direction. There's a good chance that some of those fucking lines were read independent of the scene. I'm not talking like, we hear stories about video game voice acting where everyone was in the same room and they were all like talking and, has a real conversational tone. It sounds really good and all that kind of stuff. Forget that. That's like, I've come to accept that generally Japanese video games don't like that style. They prefer the constructed style. But this is not that. This is not they read all their lines independent of someone else being there. This is they read their lines independent of the scene. They weren't given a script. They were given a fucking list of lines to read, and they just fucking blasted through them. Like fucking Krusty the Clown coming in and like, hey, it's Krusty. Hey, it's Krusty. Hey, it's Sideshow Bob. Hey, it's Sideshow Bob. I'm done. Krusty, we haven't put the tape in. Like, that sort of shit. Like, that's what it sounds like. Legit. There's a line in particular. The one that I keep coming back to is Cloud going, they just keep coming. Like, there's a bunch of robots attacking him while he's on a train, and the train is speeding to take him to certain death. And he's like, they just keep coming, or something like that, right? But he delivers it like, I don't know. He's in a mail room and the letters won't stop. And he's like, they just keep coming, right? Like, oh, there's so much work.
Like it's inconvenience him.
Yeah, like, oh my lord, like, I only just woke up. Yeah, like it's a pretty key moment. Like, I originally was already put off in that moment because Tifa kicks a flying robot out a window. She's like, take this! She kicks the flying robot out a window. I'm like, it's a flying robot, Tifa. That probably wouldn't have done that much. Like, I don't know. Like, you're trying to drown a fish here. Like, I don't think it works. Anyway, I was already put off, and then he hit me with that line. I'm like, oh, okay. And there was another one where it seemed like they added in. I can't remember the character's name. He's one of the Turks, and he's basically just in a helicopter flying around. I'll see if I've got a clip of it. I might have a clip. Oh no, that's the bit where they just stand in front of me. Yeah, I can't, like, I would send this to you to add, but it's very deep into the game. But anyway, Seng says, probably for the best after all. And it sounds like he's supposed to say probably for the best after all. But no, it's like they clipped in after all into it. Like,
they found it somewhere else.
They're like, oh yeah, just add that bit. Like,
and then they forgot to remove the space.
yeah, exactly, right? Like, and I'm like, why is that in there? But like, it's not like those are the only instances. Anytime Aerith, TH, I'll never get over that. Okay, she was always Aerith in the game I played, and I didn't go down the rabbit hole of Advent Children and all that kind of stuff. I remember Jay talking about it a fuck ton way back in the day, but I never really got into it. He was definitely playing a fuck ton of this. By the way, he was one of the 3 people on my PlayStation list who played a shit ton of Final Fantasy Remake.
Did something happen to Destiny, or Destiny servers were down?
He's just the world's biggest weeb. Yeah. Anyway, I didn't go into Advent Children, so I never really got attached to the concept of Aerith versus Aeris. Anyway, regardless, Aerith, all of her voice acting sounds like it is for someone in a completely different situation. Like an entirely different, I don't know, scenario. She's always like, you're in an underground lab surrounded by monsters, and she'll be like, hi, don't worry about it. And you're like, what?
You don't seem to be taking this very seriously.
You know, someone just got murdered, right? Like, right? Like, I'm a little concerned because they're trying to kidnap you. It's okay. And she always like does the look. Obviously, anime isn't my jam. So maybe there's a lot, right, about Final Fantasy VII Remake that isn't made for me, right? But as someone who fucking I don't know, loved the original, I figured Final Fantasy Remake was being made for me, right? Like, oh, if you love the original, you'll love Final Fantasy VII Remake. That makes sense, doesn't it? That has, uh, like, it just sort of follows. Anyway, evidently not. Evidently, I have diverged greatly from the Final Fantasy part of the Seven path, right? The Joab who enjoyed the Joab, Otaku, Weeaboo, Jackhole from 23 years ago is very different from the Joab cynical fuckwit who exists today. Anyway, I hated all of every line she said was like fucking nails on a chalkboard. They all do that grunting thing that I don't know. Like instead of saying and you're like, all right, I think this is a children's program, champs. I don't know if you can just fucking spooge all over the place. That's actually, speaking of it being a children's holy shit, it is hilariously, like, almost cringe-inducingly sexless. Like, I get the feeling it's an adult story told for children, like, told in that pantomime. Like, it's obviously pantomime with the overacting and all that kind of stuff when they're acting at all and not just reading lines off fucking blank piece of paper. Like, they're like, all the character models, like, fucking over gesticulate and fucking, really fucking throw it out there and point upwards for no fucking reason, Aerith, and like all this kind of shit. You're like, all right, yeah, fair enough, I guess. And then, it's for children. There's one bit where Cloud, with his sword that is larger than he is, right, chops up a bunch of fucking Shinra guards. This is very early on. And then Tifa's like, oh, what about those guys? Would they be all right? Because you got to go fucking stop this dude from giving up the game. He's going to give up your terrorist organization because you're part of a terrorist organization, which seems like adult themes to me. I'm just going to throw that out there. But then Tifa's like, what about those guys, pointing at the Shinra guys all over the ground? And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, well, they're fucking dead, right? What, do you want me to fucking dig a hole? Right? Are we going to bury them? Because this is a sword. It's not like a shovel. And I have been hired for a job, and that job is murdering Shinra people, right? Like, that's my job here. But then Cloud's like, they'll be okay when they wake up. I'm like, motherfucker, they're going to wake up? From what? Sword attacks? What? And, like, other people die, right? People are capable of dying. It does happen, right? But no. Not here. Not in this case. Not from the giant sword, which I guess. And Barrett's got a fucking. Oh my god! Like a power plant. The power plant blows up, right? And you catch a train. Your escape plan is to use public transport to flee the scene of your terrorist crime, and you jump on the train, and all the people are like, oh my god, the power plant, Marco, oh my god, it's called Marco. I spoke about this last, but still, the Mako power plant just blew up, right? And they're like, who could have done this? And this dude with the fucking giant sword, and the guy with a gun for an arm, right? Jump on the train and like, don't know if cosplay's the right fucking, I don't know if it's the time for cosplay, champs. Like, fucking Mako power plant just blew up, and then fucking Barrett's like, yeah, well, fuck all Shinra, and you're like, let's just
keep it down
on the down low. Let's also, well, speaking of keep it down, like, they constantly give each other shit. Like, Barrett will be like, yeah, we did it, we won, and then Tifa will be like, do you want to take it down a couple of notches? She says that. And it's because it's one of the canned responses at the end of a battle. She says it a lot. Like, she's just being a bitch to Barrett. Like, for no reason at all. And it sort of, like, twists everything, every interaction they have. You're like, do they kind of hate each other? they hate each other a lot. And then Tifa will say other things, like you'll be like, Cloud, you'll finish a fight, and Cloud will be like, "That's it. Keep your hands up," or something like that. "Keep your gloves up." And she'll be like, "Yeah, sure thing, coach." And at first, it sounds like she's like being sincere, like, "Haha, yeah, sure thing, coach. Will do." And then, but after you hear her say, "Do you want to take it down a notch?" a couple hundred times to Barrett, it sort of twists. And then suddenly it's like, "Haha, yeah, sure thing, coach." Like, fucking, why don't you tell me more, cunt? Like, keep going. Keep with the advice, fucking swordy boy. I'm out here punching robots, and you got a sword that knocks people out, okay? I don't fucking need battle advice from you, fuckstick, okay? And it sort of makes sense. You're like, yeah, it's all coming together. Anyway, back to the child, like, it's a game for children, right? Like, yeah, everyone gets knocked out, right? All of this sort of links into itself. I don't know when to start. Yeah. It all links so much that I'm not sure when to start spoiler chat.
I think we're going to do it next week. Because it's not out yet. The global release is in 2 days.
I don't give a fuck. I finished the game, and it's not like I bought it. I bought it from a store. It's not like a fucking...
You released it early.
It's not my usual shit of I know too much about a game because I got an advanced copy. I went and bought it from a store. Like, all I'm saying, like, it'll be 10 minutes, right? You're not interested in playing it.
I'm going to play it, yeah.
Get the fuck out of here, Luke.
You're not going
to play this. Get out. You shouldn't. Cancel the pre-order. Oh, my God. Anyway, Sexless. So, one of the classic moments in Final Fantasy VII early game is when you go to Wall Market and you have to dress up as a lady for, comedy purposes, which I thought was pretty odd back in 97, right? And in 2020, it feels kind of tone deaf. Like, ha ha ha, it's funny because... Ha ha ha, Cloud is dressed like a woman. Ha 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 ha, he's so uncomfortable. Ha 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 ha. Right, like, I think the world might have moved on from that particular gag. But regardless, War Market is essentially, the red light district of the under whatever portion of Midgar. Right? It's the seedy underbelly. It's basically like Golden Guy in Tokyo type thing. You got like bars down alleys and like, criminal element and all that kind of stuff, and bright lights and neon and like burlesque dancing and stuff like that. Anyway, you go and you get the help from of a massage parlor, and you pay for the no, she gives you a hand massage. But like they try to like ham it up so that it's like this sexy hand massage.
Yeah.
And all it does is underline how I guess neutered the entire thing is. Like it's weird. That in particular is weird. Like a lot of Cloud's motivation type stuff is weird, right? He goes in, the first, like, I don't know, 4 hours of the game, he's like, "I better be paid. I'm just here for the payday. Yeah, you better give me some money." And fucking Badger from Breaking Bad is, like, hitting on you hardcore. And then Jesse, the chick who didn't really have any lines in the original, but is now a fleshed out character, she's non-stop hitting on you. And then fucking Charlie Sheen, Biggs is maybe hitting on. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell with Biggs. I think he's got a hard on for you. And like everyone's just hitting on you non-stop, and it'll never go anywhere because that's it's a children's game, and everyone gets knocked out instead of killed. And then like there's no time pressure. I think they make a huge they make a huge error by having a clock early on when you set that bomb, right? And you set it for 20 minutes, and then you like wrap up that sequence in like 4 minutes, and you're like, right. There was probably like I would have to be trying to run out of time from that countdown. The thing is, then anytime they try to implore urgency, but they don't fucking chuck a clock up, there's no urgency.
Yeah.
Right? Like
you
you're
take
like,
as long as you want.
Right? Like I didn't even there wasn't a need for urgency when there was a clock. You better believe I'm not fucking rushing when there is like nothing. Right? But the stakes, like what everyone's talking about, the stakes are so high that it feels like there should be a lot more urgency than there is. They're like, we've got to get everyone we got to get evacuated. 50,000 people are going to die. Also, if you were to stop by and do this squats challenge, you might earn some new materia. And you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm going to do this squats challenge.
It's the Mass Effect problem, right? Where the universe is going to explode, but I got to go deliver some mail somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Like it suffers so hard from that shit. Like, and it's not really able to do anything about it. I don't think the script writing is all that good. There's too many repeated lines. There's a nostalgic sort of like I felt a nostalgic sort of pang from hearing the same like ambient lines over and over. You run past this person and they were like, "Oh, is that the Merc who blah 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 blah?" And you're like, "Yeah, right." And you run past them again, and they'll say it again. And you're like, "Oh, sort of like how in old school JRPGs, if you talk to someone multiple times, they
say the same thing."
Oh, I get it. Like, it's kind of cool. But yeah, I didn't find it. You know, it was a pain. It wasn't. I didn't think it was good. It was amusing for a moment, but it was par for the course. So it actually got really tired really quickly. Anytime you ran past or near someone, they'd say it, and so it was just noise after a time, and so you quickly learned to block it out. I just didn't think that was such a great idea.
Right.
And then the time wasting. I reckon I think it took me 33 hours to finish. By the last 2 hours, you don't play anymore. You just sort of watch. You do there is a boss fight, and it's a good fight. But yeah, you're not terribly involved beyond that.
It's a Kojima game at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but even outside of the watching, there's so much of the game that just doesn't need to happen. That just flat out doesn't need to happen. That they were under the impression that that it is a Final Fantasy game. People have paid $100 for their Final Fantasy game, and so they better get their 30 hours of Final Fantasy game. And what they get is a lot of fucking pointless backtracking and time wasting. And it is like at the core of the game experience. It's fucking deep in the core of the game experience. Like, you cannot get away from it. It is that fucking deep, and I don't think it's a good thing under any circumstances. There are so many circumstances where the game, like, you'll be running and the game will just slow you down, like you just can't run anymore, or circumstances where to get to a new location you have to do the like sidle through a tight squeeze, but that tight squeeze takes about 3 times longer than it should. Like, I'm thinking in particular, there's a kid who takes Moogle medals as a currency, and you can use that to buy a bunch of stuff. Quite a lot of it is quest related, and so you earn these Moogle medals and use that to buy the stuff you need for quests. And I guess it's supposed to build out the orphan elements of the city of Midgar, but yeah, all it really does to get to him is you have to sidle through this portion. It's 10 to 15 seconds of sidling.
Is it like loading?
And it's like the section that you're going into isn't that long, so it shouldn't be, but maybe. But that's not good enough in my opinion. Like I don't feel like the play, like just do a loading screen. I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm tired of having to, like, it is the equivalent of like those of games where you have to hold the play button, right? Like the game that's a movie where you have to hold the fucking play button. I don't like it. I don't think it's good game design. Honestly, I think it is reductive. I think it is negative gaming, like a negative experience, a negative playing experience, because all it does is make you feel like you're wasting your time. And if you happen to go, you know, early on, there was a section where I could see a piece of materia that I hadn't actually gotten to, and so I appreciate the puzzle of working out how to get to that materia, right? That's part of the game experience, is working out the path or what you need to put together to get to that materia. But I figured what I needed to do was go back. I figured I must have missed how to get there in the first place, like earlier on in the game, and so I needed to backtrack. To backtrack, I needed to walk past these fans, and the fans would blow me off unless I walked really slow. Blow me.
All right.
All right. Sexless indeed. But like this, walking past these fans slowed Cloud down, like slowed the whole fucking team down immensely. So just walking this one section took like a full fucking minute, as opposed to just, so backtracking itself was an unattractive option just because of that. Not to mention I had to find the exact trigger point where I could fucking walk past, but whatever. It's so rigid. It's so hyper linear. Like the game is these linear fucking narrow corridors that link these broader sections that involve some light puzzle work. And yeah, going back through that corridor is tedious because you know what to expect. It is what it is. And so much of the game revolves around not giving you enough information. Once I got back past the fans and I got to where I thought I needed to go based on the visual inspection of the layout, I got there and the bridge to the materia collapsed and it didn't work. I couldn't go there. And so I then knew that was not the correct solution and I had to go back across the fans again. So my backtracking had been wasted. And so I had to go through all of that again. And so, but like, that was on purpose. That was the purpose of that section, was literally to waste my time, right? They literally wanted to slow me down. And it happens over and over and over again. Things fall, like, oh yeah, this way is now blocked. Go a different way. You've got to move these giant hands for some reason.
Hands?
Oh yeah, they've got these giant robot hands. There's an
Right.
entire section of the game where all you do is move giant robot hands, but it lasts. Like, it's a pretty simplistic puzzle that lasts so much fucking longer than it needs to. There's a part where you're going through a museum and you cannot open the next door until the museum has finished talking. But it's not talking. It stops talking. It's just showing you pictures after a portion of time. It's no longer talking and just showing you a slideshow. You have to go to a fucking slideshow, basically. And this is on the main path of the fucking game, right? It is literally just wasting time. Like, specifically wasting players' time. And that is by design. That is what they're trying to do. You go to open a door and a rat steals the key. So you have to chase the rat. And naturally there are 7 more fights in between you and catching the rat, right? Or you are walking across a platform and the platform collapses. That specific thing happens like 4 times. Walking across the platform and it collapses, and now you have to walk through it again. Like, and lo and behold, there are 7 fights in between you and the fucking getting back to it, like just getting back to where you were, right? It just wastes time over and over. They have dragged out. Like, I appreciate the game. I think it does a really good job of building out Midgar, like the Undercity of Midgar. I think it does a fucking spectacular job of doing that. And if it was a 15-hour game that did that, I would probably be annoyed at the concept of charging $100
Sure.
for a slightly fleshed out. But like Midgar in Final Fantasy VII was only supposed to take about like 10 hours, right? Like if you added 50% of like to that, right? I feel like that would be fairly reasonable, or even doubled it to 20 hours and did some of the padding out horse shit, right? I guess it would be fine. But that's not what happens. They triple the length, but they only add about 50% more content. That's what's happening here, is they triple the length through time-wasting techniques, and while only really adding a bit of content. Yeah, you meet, you find out a fuck ton about Jesse and Wedge and Biggs, and that's cool, and I like that. And then you find out a lot about the Sector 6 and Sector 7 and Sector 5. You find out a lot of the daily life in those sectors, and I think that's cool. And they really flesh out Midgar as a place. And then you also spend a fuck ton of time doing the same thing over and over, solving the same puzzle, moving hands, walking on collapsing walkways, past fans that slow you down to a tenth of your normal speed, or just generally being slowed down to a walk because the game decides this is a portion where you need to walk. Or, yeah, it uses those ledges that you need to sidle across so that you can admire the game. Like, oh my god, it loves the smell of its own farts so much. It is so enamored with what it has created for you that it forces you to appreciate it. Those times, like in I think like Prey, right, or BioShock, these games that have created these spectacular worlds. And I love to ask, I'm sure they hate to answer this question, but I love to ask because I love the variety of despair you see. But anytime they bring an environmental artist down and you ask them, how do you feel about the idea that 99% of people never appreciate anything you fucking made? And they're like, their faces drop and they're like, yeah, we actually have like meetings discussing how to get through that, because I totally understand that people aren't going to look at half the stuff I've done. But they know that 1% who do are going to be like, it's going to add so much. And then there's the fact that peripherally, like 50% of people won't notice exactly the thing they saw, but it will be absorbed by them anyway.
Yeah.
And so that they'll get that much more out of it. And then there'll be the people who just don't notice anything. And they'll probably finish, they'll probably quit 2 hours into the game or something. It doesn't really, their experience doesn't really matter. But yeah, there are those people, there's those layers of how much attention people pay to the environment. and they reconcile with it but accept that you need to allow players to have the freedom to not pay any attention because it is critical to the game playing experience. Final Fantasy VII is like, no, you're going to look at this. Also, 3 steps later, you're going to look at it again. I don't think you were fucking looking before, motherfucker. Look again. Did you see how fucking good that is? And then you're like, yeah, okay, cool, right. And you just fucking...
And then the bridge collapses and you go back to the start and they make you look at it a third time.
Make it... Exactly. 100%. Holy shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, they just piss away time so much.
So, like, without giving away any of the ending, how much of the game do you feel like you've played of the part 1 or whatever they're doing here?
This is what I want to talk about, Luke. I want to do spoilers. I want to do 10 minutes of spoilers.
I think we have to wait till next week. It is literally not out yet globally.
I want... It is a fucking public service announcement.
Right.
I feel like I was tricked. And I don't know how to talk about that without spoilers. Right? And I don't know how to not talk about that before the entire world has access to buying it. Because I don't think people are buying this game based on the correct information. I don't know how to fucking say that, like say any more than that without spoilers. And yet I don't want to fucking not say this because I feel like it's vital fucking information. People should fucking know. I don't know, man. Like, give me 5 minutes of spoilers. I won't even go that deep into spoilers, okay? I won't like talk about exactly what happens, but I will broadly speak about what this game does that I think is a huge error. Okay?
Right.
5 minutes. Chuck it on the clock. Let me bring up my fucking phone. Give me a fucking timer. If I can fucking work out how the timer works. Oh my god. Do I have a fucking timer app? Sure, I got a timer app. There we go.
It's usually under clock, and then you go time stopwatch.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do though. You're gonna give me the double thumbs up because I'm gonna turn my headphones off.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, we're gonna start spoilers now.
Or we can do the thing where I turn my headphones off, and then I talk over what you're saying just to pretend like I'm gonna guess what you're saying, and it'll make it really confusing for people.
That will make it far too confusing for people, but it might make it so that Square Enix don't try to assassinate us. So I don't know. No. Anyway, you ready? Beginning. So what happens? Let me just be clear. Spoilers for the next 5 minutes. Okay, spoilers for Final Fantasy VII Remake for the next 5 minutes. Okay, and it'll be so skip ahead 5 minutes from now. What's happening in Final Fantasy VII Remake is that this game is not. It abandons the story of Final Fantasy VII, and it does it specifically and deliberately with the I don't know how, like, based on the fucking parameters I've been given, I don't know how to fucking explain it super well, but what it's doing is it is like meta-narratively changing the story of Final Fantasy VII and deliberately throwing it out. Like, deliberately throwing out the plot of Final Fantasy VII that you played and loved in 1997. And that feels to me like a bait and switch. It feels like I was tricked. It feels like I was told it would be Final Fantasy VII Remake, and what I got instead was, I don't know, like it feels like a weasel use of the word remake, right? Like they've used remake there to justify completely redoing how Final Fantasy works, and it feels like I was sold on the premise of them remaking, like in the same sense that a Resident Evil 2 remake, or like a Resident Evil 2 remake is a really fucking good comparison, right? Like this idea that what it's doing is retelling the story of Resident Evil for now, right? That's not what's happening in Final Fantasy VII. Is they are telling a brand new story, and it only becomes clear in the last like 3 hours of the game, and it feels awful, like for so many reasons. But like the cynic in me, and God knows I'm cynical, but the cynic in me, right, believes that they did this so they could bank on the nostalgia of players believing they were going to get Final Fantasy VII remade, which is 1000% why I bought in. I mean, they've been deliberately vague on what the fuck Final Fantasy VII Remake would entail, how much of it, it'll involve Midgar, but we're not going to go into any more details. What's the next, what sections is it going to be broken up into? How much of Final Fantasy VII are we going to get? They have been deliberately vague in what that involved, and I believe they did that on purpose because they want to abandon making Final Fantasy VII or remaking Final Fantasy VII, right? They don't want to remake Final Fantasy VII. What they want to do is make a new thing using the Final Fantasy VII brand. And that's what they've done. But they tricked me, right? I feel like I was tricked into buying Final Fantasy VII Remake on the premise that I was going to get a Final Fantasy VII Remake. The fucking weasel word there is remake, right? But we've remade it. Right, we have. Oh, don't unmute, Luke. I just, that was me just thumbs upping for fun. What they've done is they've remade it. They've recreated the entire fucking like game world, and they're gonna remake it in their own fucking image. Right? It is a remake. Oh fuck! Like fucking new Coke or some shit, like, oh yeah, we've remade Coke, and it's not the fucking same. Or like when they fucking remake the fucking Pringles packet and suddenly there's fucking 40% less Pringles, and you're like, what the fuck is going on here? Where are all my fucking Pringles? Right? Like, that's Final Fantasy VII Remake is a remade fucking Pringles, and I'm like, where the fuck are all my Pringles? And their plan is, I'm running out of time, and their plan is to fucking like just make their own game from here on out, and they're able to do it. It is not a Final Fantasy VII remake. It is not a remake of the fucking classic game. It is a reinvention of the fucking game based on the fucking franchise. And I feel like I was bait and switched, and it doesn't feel good. And I feel like people should be fucking warned. But that's time up. Hey, time up.
You done?
Time's up. Yeah, like, I guess. I mean, you're not going to fucking finish it by next week's podcast, right? Like,
what do you think I'm doing next week?
I don't know, man. Like, I'm finished, but Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel like a fucking good way to do things. So anyway, buyer beware, I guess. Yeah. Let's move on.
But we'll see. I mean, we'll have different experiences because I've got no attachment to the other games.
Oh my god.
Game, sorry.
I forgot about the people who had no fucking clue about Final Fantasy VII. Maybe you will have...
Maybe I'll love it.
Yes. Maybe you will have a different experience. You will not love it. The last 3 hours of that game are so fucking off the rails. It is spectacular. It's made by the dude who made Kingdom Hearts. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah.
Well, I liked Kingdom Hearts. It's good.
Oh, yeah?
Good, wholesome game.
Good storytelling experience, would you say?
No. I never
Coherent
said
story?
that.
Would you say was a coherent story?
I don't think I can tell you what the story is about.
Well,
At least the last one that I played.
strap in, motherfucker. Let's move on.
Yeah. All right. We got some VR games here. SoundSelf.
Yeah, so SoundSelf is a VR meditation experience. I checked out. I haven't checked out a lot of it. It's quite confusing. But
Seems
it's a
to be
VR
working for
meditation. Oh yeah, I'm so much more fucking centered. But I've genuinely thought that VR would be an interesting space for meditative experiences for a long time, and this one is trying to do that. I couldn't do it for very long because the primary function of it has you lie on the ground, and I don't know how other VR headsets work. How's your one going, Luke?
I think it's still in Australia
somewhere in the fucking Pacific. Yeah.
I haven't checked.
But yeah, my one has a big fucking strap on the head, and then it's got a big wire going down the back of your fucking spine.
Right.
And it's actually got a second wire for the headphones. And lying down on that is intensely uncomfortable. And so I'm not really, in terms of meditation, I'm not really prepared for the VR experience of lying on a bed of nails. So it didn't really work out for me. I just think it needs to be a seated experience. I don't know. Like I've done meditation before, and I've never done it lying down. So I don't know. It's confusing. I've always done it in a seated position, so it's confusing. And the other thing is the person who talks you through it talks way too fast, like really quickly. You know, in my experience,
calm.
Yes, the person leading the meditation experience needs to speak clearly and slowly and in a calming voice and not fucking whoop, 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 whoop. Now it's time to lie down, motherfuckers. Let's go. We're gonna do some meditation. Let's go. Who's amped up? Yeah. And I'm like, fucking holy shit. I'm concentrating on my breaths and they're going 100 fucking times a minute. Yeah, anyway. So that was weird. But I'll continue to try to experience it, but I need it to be in a seated position. It's not going to fucking work for me.
So are you doing this in front of your computer? Is that what's happening?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I don't know where else I would do it. The Vive is connected to the computer, so...
Yeah.
Yeah. Beat Saber. I've been playing some more Beat Saber. Because my wife wanted some... I don't know, she wanted some, like, active experience that she could do while trapped inside a fucking house.
Yeah.
And she's enjoyed Beat Saber in the past. But like it's a good workout experience. It works as a exercise activity. Like she does it for like half an hour a day, and she it gets her heart, like her blood flowing and all that kind of stuff. And I've been playing it a little bit as well, but I'm fucking shit. And she we got the mod so you can download custom songs and stuff.
Right, yeah.
And she only gets songs that are fucking expert level. And I'm like fucking
you just want to meditate, but you can't.
I'm just trying to meditate up in this bitch. Fucking yeah, I'm just like waggling my fucking hands all over the place, missing everything. I'm like, I'm terrible. No, I've tried out because there's now a mod manager. They made it really easy to mod and stuff, which is cool. But yeah, I tried out the Darth Maul.
Oh yeah, cool.
Have you seen that shit? That was pretty cool.
But how do you are you just holding one wand? How does that work?
Yeah, you just hold the one wand and you hold it like it's a double-sided lightsaber, I suppose.
Right, and you use like gyros to figure
Yeah,
it
it just
out.
uses.
Yeah.
It uses the. It works like really well from that perspective. The main challenge is you gotta. Well, I found you have to like. I can't do directions because I think you need songs to be mapped to work with the double-sided lightsaber.
Right.
Because like a lot of the time it'll be like fucking go out like this, go two hands, like each hand goes up diagonally away from the body,
Yeah, it
and
doesn't
that's
work.
impossible to
Yeah.
fucking so you have to like, but like the amount of mods make like, and the modding scene makes it so fucking easy to change all that shit. That's not that big. Like, so I just changed it so that there were no directions on the buttons. So now, like, it's less complicated. It's not as hard, but like, there's just two fucking boxes, and so you just sort of have to like put the fucking saber up there, and then like the rest of the like complexity. It's actually, yeah, I can do stuff on expert at that with the double-sided lightsaber and no fucking directions. Such an expert. Anyway, it's good fun though, and yeah, it's a cool little way to get the, I don't know. No, my biggest problem is my wife wants to use my computer for half an hour every day now,
Yeah.
which is extremely disruptive.
You told her to get her own?
Right, like fucking, and buy your own Vive. I don't want to uncork that bottle. Yeah, let's. I don't want to.
Yeah.
Pull on that thread, I think. But yeah,
I mean,
anyway.
it's a fair assessment. Like, you don't want her eye, you don't want no eye infections, right? She may be.
What?
She may have some sort of eye infection.
How would she have a fucking eye infection?
I don't know. That's what you got to be careful of. What if she did, and then she got it all on your Vive eye, and then you put it on, and then you have an eye infection?
I hadn't considered it, and
Think about these things.
Dismiss the concept, I suppose, because that's lunacy. Yeah.
Because it's too hard to get like disinfectant wipes these days, so she's got to get her own. I feel like you can't be wiping that down anymore.
What if I were to just stop using the VR?
Ah,
That would probably be easier.
okay.
We might do that instead. Or I just assume my wife isn't getting pink eye from somewhere. Because she can't leave the house.
But she,
Like, where's she gonna get it from? She's gonna fucking like cupcake herself and then cram it on her fucking eye or something. Isn't that how you get
the mailman.
the mailman? Gold. Anyway, moving on.
Yep.
What else do we got? Green Hell.
Green Hell, yeah.
Let's do it.
Green Hell is an independent. Oh, it's from an independent studio. It's a survival game where you are playing a character who's been trapped in a forest, some sort of forest. Not the forest,
forest.
but a forest.
Yes.
A different forest. Yeah, it's a survival game basically, and it's very much in the similar vein as the forest, where you're kind of working your way up through a survival like logbook and learning more and more about the environment and the mechanics as you slowly begin to find new things that you can do in the world. So it starts off super basic, like, all right, you got to build some or craft some bandages, and it sort of gives you like the plants you need to go looking for, and you'll be able to gather certain bits and pieces from a plant to create a bandage, and then you can make an axe using stone and sticks, and it sort of escalates from there to the point where you're like, all right, you can build infrastructure for houses like walls and roofs and that sort of stuff, and then different types of weapons, and it sort of escalates as you go further and further in the game. And then they've got the like the survival mechanics of you've got to maintain your health and your stamina, and sort of there's like 4 different stats you've sort of got to keep an eye on. So I think one of them is carbohydrates. There's protein. There is fats, and then there's water. They the four?
I think so.
Sounds about right. And by you doing certain things in the world sort of makes them go up or down. So you might have to drink water in order to get that water stat back up, but there's a river nearby and the water is dirty, and so you can't drink that, otherwise you'll get parasites. So you've got to try and find a way to get that water boiled so that you can drink it. And so what do? You go find a coconut and you cut the coconut in half, and then you eat out all the stuff in the coconut, and then you use the coconut shell as like a scoop. And it's like that sort of stuff where you're trying to think of ways that you can sort of solve a problem.
Survivor Man type shit.
Yeah. And so we were huge fans of the forest. Like we were really digging that game, and sort of I feel like it was one of the first ones we kind of jumped in where they took the crafting aspect and melded it really well with the survival sort of environment. And so we've seen a lot of, there's been other games out there like your Rust or 7 Days. Is it 7 Days to Die? I never really played that one.
Yeah.
But I feel like the forest is definitely the highlight of all those that I've checked out. And this game in particular seems to take a lot of influence from the forest, at least in terms of things that you come across in the world. A lot of the survival mechanics. There's stuff in the game like sanity meters, which again can have an effect on you as a character. And so, I think it does a really good job. At least it does a really good job of giving you a lot of things to try and learn about the world. And I think in terms of what I've seen so far, it's definitely a lot more complicated or a lot more in depth than the forest. It's like it starts off where you can cut down a tree, right, using your axe, and that tree will fall down. And in the forest, it'll be like, all right, you've got logs now. That was pretty much the way it went, right? You cut it down and you got logs. Whereas this game, it starts off and it's like, it's a log. And you cut the log in half and it splits off into 2 sticks or 2 long sticks. And then you can cut that down even more and it's like another set of sticks. And like there's always different layers on top of that. Like that one particular thing that you've got that you can sort of drill down, and eventually there's sort of different ways you can utilize that particular log. Not necessarily for building, but you can be like, all right, and keep chopping this thing down, and eventually I'll break it down into all these different types of components. And so it does that really well. Like back to the coconut thing, right? You can use that to eat, to get your carbohydrates back up, or your whatever it is that it gives you. I haven't played enough of this game to know exactly what coconut's going to give you. But you can use it to eat, or you can use it to drink, or you can use it as a tool to carry water. Or like one thing that you figured out, you basically had all these split coconuts and you put them on the floor because we were trying to figure out how to get water. And eventually over time, as it rained, the coconuts would fill up with water and we could drink them. And so that was our main source of getting water at that stage because we were playing in co-op. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Like, I like the little things it does with that. Like, it really changes sort of the way you think about the game. Like, you're given a puzzle to solve or a problem to solve, and you try and think, all right, well, how do I fix this? And there was a bunch of instances where we were like, all right, what do we need to do this? And we managed solving it by just thinking like, oh, what would we do? How can we try and fix this? And it seemed to work most of the time.
The coconut halves on the ground to get rainwater is a really good example of like, just sort of fucking worked, right? Like, or I made a spear by sharpening a stone and tying it to a stick. Like, like that sort of natural puzzle solving, like that logical puzzle solving type stuff. Yeah, worked out, right? Anyway, go on. Those are just examples.
No, so anyway, we were playing as a co-op game, so it's just come out in co-op this week, and traditionally there's a story mode that you can play by yourself. That's a single player game that goes through, I guess, the events of you getting to this location, and then things happen, and eventually, you'll progress further and further through this actual story they've set out. But in particular, like I haven't played a lot of that story. We kind of did the tutorial. I think all of us stopped at the same part, and that part was sort of like the game telling you very basics in terms of how to craft or how to look at your body to figure out like if there's anything on you, or like inspect yourself. Really basic like in terms of the lower level gameplay mechanics, but I think it gave you enough to try and like figure things out for yourself. I don't know yet. Like we haven't really dived into it too much in terms of the survival mode
Story,
we're playing.
Yeah, we're playing survival, and it doesn't tell you any of that shit. It just sort of fucking
throws you in.
Assumes you've played enough to understand what you're doing, which
Yep.
I guess we hadn't really.
No.
When you think about it.
No.
No.
But yeah, we kind of just, and there was no real sense of what we're supposed to be doing either, I guess, at this stage. Like, at least in the forest, the great thing about that was that you were playing the campaign or the story, the actual story mode with other people and getting something out of it, whereas this feels just like I'm just building things, or I don't know, maybe there is stuff to go out there and find and do. But I just didn't get a sense of what that should be yet. Mainly because, like in the forest, you're given a task list, right? Of like, here's different things you can check off and mark and that sort of thing. Whereas this just purely, it says survival when you start up a game, and that's like, see how long you can survive, or just go do stuff. And that's pretty much all it seems to be at this point. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I just wish there was some sort of story mode behind it that I go explore with other people.
Yeah, like the co-op situation doesn't really like add enough to like. I think Green Hell sort of, I don't know, it really relies on its story at this point. Like, I think the story is such a huge portion of what makes up the game, and co-op not involving that sort of drags away from that experience. Because you don't really get any of the storytelling stuff out of it.
Whereas like the storytelling is very limited. Like we can go on for, I mean, we went on numerous times about the forest, and like we were going to go do this thing, and we ran into this, and all these other things happen. Whereas this just seems to be like, all right, well, we were building a camp, and a tiger showed up. But like that particular story is something that will happen once, and then it's not really going to be a story anymore, because if it keeps happening, it's just going to be a gameplay mechanic that's always there. Like, it's not like we were doing something or we were going looking for something and then this tiger showed up. It's just like, it'll happen once and like, okay, cool, there's a tiger. Fair enough. Like, it'll happen the first time and then it's no longer this unique thing anymore. It's just kind of a part of that survival game.
Yeah, that's basically it. I mean, I think you need some sort of storytelling experience to drive people to do things, because as a survival experience, it just seems super overbearing, like super, like, I don't know, rough. Like, we just sort of we just eat shit a lot. Not literally eat shit. You can pick up shit for some reason, but you can't eat it. It's just super punishing survival experience, which I don't really go in for, to be honest. I don't dislike it. It's just without the fucking drive to learn anything new about the world or anything, I don't really see the point. I guess.
You're kind of just doing stuff.
You just do stuff, and it's really rough surviving. I mean, I'm 100% sure all of my weapons disappeared when I got killed by that fucking jaguar.
So I don't know. I looked it up. You lose items. That's like a penalty for death. It'll make you drop items. Like, it'll drop all your items, but some of them will actually disappear, from what I understand.
Yeah, well, that's the fact that it was all of my weapons, considering I had 5 fucking weapons. Uh,
He got
like,
shafted.
that's too harsh penalty. Because it puts you in a position where you can't fucking come back from. And like, yeah, you constantly like you can't walk through a fucking river without getting leeches. You can't fucking you can't go fucking 10 minutes without being starving or needing to drink water or whatever the fucking like it's too overbearing. Like it's too fucking rough. There's too much like happening all at once while you're trying to learn how to fucking play the game. And it's one of those games where it feels like you'd be like you'd have to be playing at maximum APM just to be fucking treading water.
Yeah.
Like just to be staying afloat. And I don't think it lends itself to interesting survival experiences necessarily. It just sort of feels like a fucking group fucking
It's like a workout.
masochism
Yeah.
effort. Yeah, like I don't really want that.
Yeah.
I'd play it again, but we'd have to significantly turn down the survival aspects. I can't stand games where you are dying from hunger inside of a day in game time. I just it is always such a fucking immersion breaker for me,
Right.
because people go days without eating, and like not me, not this guy. I mean, I could probably last for weeks. I can last for weeks on the stores,
Yeah.
on the fat stores that I've built up over time. But yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Water, I understand, but like you're also not going to get parasites every time you drink river water. It's not ideal, but I've drunk river water before.
Yeah.
And I didn't get parasites, unless I did get parasites and I just never knew about it.
But it's also because you're managing like these 4 different stats. It's not like you can eat food and be like, oh, cool, I'm full now. Like in the forest, it's like food and water, right? Whereas this is like, oh, I need carbohydrates, right? I need to go find the thing that does that. And so you're out there doing this, and you fucking come across a snake. The snake bites you. All of a sudden, you're poisoned. You're like, all right, well now I got to find bandages as well to try and figure out how to do that. And you run through, like you said, some water, or you go near a river, and you've got leeches, and as that's happening, your sanity's dropping because you got leeches, and all these things are just happening. I understand it's a really hardcore survival game, but which is why I think we noticed when we left there was that custom mode, which you can turn a bunch of the settings off. And I feel like if we jump back in, turn off sanity, because even though I really like what the sanity stuff does, and it does a better job than the forest. I don't think the forest did anything in terms of sanity. It was kind of really just some sort of indicator, some sort of stat. Whereas here it's doing some interesting gameplay stuff with, like, you'll hear voices or laughing and things like that out in the world, which is really creepy, even though it can be very overbearing at times.
And you get attacked by enemies.
You can get attacked by enemies that aren't there, which is really cool.
Yeah. I was saying this yesterday while we were playing, but I honestly think that what it should do is like turn on friendly fire in those moments and make your teammates look like fucking the enemies. Like make Luke look like a fucking jaguar or whatever. Oh, I keep saying jaguar, by the way, because in the game the voice actor says jaguar. For some reason it was very, very distracting. But yeah, make Luke look like a jaguar, and he's just walking through the camp. I'm like, oh fuck is that? And I fucking either run away from Luke or I try to stab him, and that'd be fucking A, hilarious, and B, like very interesting use of sanity mechanic, and it would like heavily incentivize you to keep your sanity up, but otherwise,
and communicate more with people.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I think the first point it happened was you said you heard laughing, and I was just like, oh yeah, that was just me cackling. But then the sanity stuff started happening to me, and then you could hear the laughing. But I think the one was where Nate was like, there's a guy over here. He's just standing here, and we're like, there's no one here. What are you talking about? Yeah. So that stuff is awesome. I really like playing around with people's perspective. And I just dig the crafting system. I think the crafting system is really cool with like all the things you can do and how intricate and complex it is. I just wish there was some reason to be doing it at this stage for that particular game, because we the puzzle solving thing. We were like, all right, we need fire, right? So we go and build a fire, and we're building fires, and then it started raining all the time, and we're like, all right, what do we do? And I think I just said, let's try and put a cover over it. So then you built some foundation, and we put some foundation down over the top of our fire, and then we put some roofing on the top. So we had to go find like banana leaves to put on top of the roof, and then that covered it, and I think that fixed the fire problem for us. It wasn't going out anymore. All right, so how do we get water now? And then you figured out we literally had like 15 fucking coconuts on the ground getting us water, because we didn't know how to get clean water, and that was, I guess that was the solution. Or we could have boiled the water, maybe. Not really. We never tried that.
We don't have a pot. I don't know how we do it.
In the coconuts?
Yes, we can. Yeah, fill up a coconut half and put it on the fire or something. I don't know. But like the rain, because it fucking rained so much that wasn't really necessary once we had all our coconut halves set up all over the fucking place.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think it'd be a really like fun and interesting game if we weren't more worried about fucking dehydrating to death every fucking 4 seconds.
Or needing to sleep.
So we could. Having to sleep, so we could actually walk more than like 20 meters away from our fucking little, I don't know, collection of coconut halves that are filled with water. The only way we can get back fucking any fucking water and stuff. You know, like the survival mechanics were so overbearing that we weren't really afforded the opportunity to branch out from where we were. I think, that was a mistake.
Yeah, but I guess the good thing is, like we said, once we quit, we realized there was a custom mode, and you can turn a bunch of that stuff off. Because we were looking, we're like, there's like a couple of options in when you host a game that are just sort of set settings, and the lowest one on there kind of turned off a bunch of the stuff that we didn't really want to get rid of. It's like a story mode or something like that, where it'll get rid of like all the enemies, like anything that can harm you just is gone. It's like we don't really want to play like that. Like, and so finding that custom mode where it's like, hey, here's all the things you can turn off. You can turn off like the sanity meter, or how you know your stamina, is that impacted you low, high, medium, whatever. There's sort of different tiers you can set up there. So I think like tinkering around with that a little bit more, so that we can kind of go out and explore the world, would probably be a bit more interesting.
Yeah,
because we kind of, like you said, we didn't really get to go anywhere. We built some cool stuff, but that was about it. Like I built a pot plant or something at some stage. Like
a little planet area. Yeah,
and so like we found bananas around the place, and you can harvest the bananas. A lot of the fruit that you can find, or the food, you can either eat them or harvest them, and sometimes they'll give you seeds. And so we built this. I built this pot plant thing. And then I put the seeds in the ground, and it was like, all right, you need fertilizer now. I need water. So I went and found some animal droppings, and then used that as the fertilizer, and then picked up my coconut and dipped the coconut in the dirty river, and then watered my plants that way. And it's like, all right, cool. Now I've got a banana tree growing. Just like stuff like that is.
It's got cool elements. Yeah, we just weren't able to fucking explore them.
Yeah, because we were managing.
Too busy trying to fucking. Pull leeches off our legs or some shit.
Yeah, while a tiger's attacking us and invisible people. And
I gotta send you the video. You gotta put the video. I might just tweet it. Might be better because I think it's only fucking a minute long. But the bit where the fucking tiger attacks us is fucking hilarious. So I shit my pants.
Yeah.
It's gold.
Anyway, that's Green Hell. It's out now on. You can find it on Steam, and the multiplayer is out now. That you can go and play with friends.
Yep.
All right, so we got one more game here. It's called Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord. You've been playing it. What is it?
Mountain Blade. Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord is the sequel to the cult classic Mount and Blade, which I guess. I don't even know how to explain it. It was basically a fucking peasant simulator. I don't know. You were a dude in a vaguely European medieval setting, and it's a sandbox world where you just sort of roll around and try to like rise to the, I don't know, position of like king or something type thing. You know, like try to rise through the ranks by building out your army and like taking, you know, you do missions and stuff and build out your army, and then eventually, yeah, you're a fucking you're a lord. And Mountain Blade 2 is the sequel, the direct sequel. There have been a couple of semi sequels, like not necessarily sequels. There's no like numbered sequels, but like there have been games in the same I don't know, line, like Warband, and there was another one. I can't remember what it was called. Fire and Sword.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, basically the idea is, I don't know, the sky's the limit. Like you are a boots on the ground warrior in medieval Europe, doing knightly things, but you don't start off as a knight. That's the thing, right? Like you start off as just a dude in some like shitty armor. You got a shitty sword and maybe a shitty bow and arrow. And yeah, you just sort of fucking have to grow your reputation and grow your following until eventually, yeah, you become someone important in this world. And it's a fascinating little slice of life type experience where you just sort of go through it and experience it. And it's not easy under any circumstances. Like everything seems like pretty challenging. Like there's a lot to manage. You got to manage, like, you know, you've got people following you, but you've got to manage their salary, and you've got to manage your relationships with different towns and stuff like that. And yeah, you got to like manage all these little things, your own equipment, the equipment of your followers, all this stuff that sort of piles on what is otherwise a pretty simplistic experience of being a third person chop fest. You know, you just sort of fucking roll through and chop cunts up. And then, yeah, it builds out until you're managing like sieges on castles and stuff. I got to be involved in a siege, but I didn't get to like lead the siege. That's as far as I've gotten so far. But it's a game that I went in with thinking I would check it out for a couple of hours, and then 6 hours passed, and I was like, where the fuck did my Sunday go type shit. Like I spent the entire day playing this game, and I am very happy that I did. I think it's pretty janky in its current state, but it's the sort of game where you don't like hate jank. Like
Sure. Yeah.
like it's bad when it fucks you up, but sometimes it works in your favor as well. Like, you know, you spawn into a battle because like you've got. It reminds me a lot. That's what it is. It's fucking Sid Meier's Pirates, but you're a fucking medieval knight. And so like you will roam about this like overland, like sort of going from town to town, completing your quests. Largely, I think the best way I found to make money early on was to like get you got to escort some sheep from one place to another, or horses or cows or whatever, and they just sort of add a bunch of sheep and cows to your fucking inventory, and you take them somewhere else. But the trick there is you can then, like, while you're at that place that sells sheep, you go and you buy a bunch more sheep, and then you take the sheep wherever they're supposed to go, and invariably wherever you take them will be worth, the sheep will be worth more, right? and so you sell the sheep, and you'll have made a profit, and you'll get money for delivering the sheep, and along the way you might kill some people, you build your reputation, like kill some looters and stuff like that. But while you're on this overland, you're just like a person on like a world map. You sort of move around, and if you see like Sid Meier's Pirates, if you see a little boat going past, and you think you can get away with smashing up that little boat, then you run after it, you chase it down. And looters are a really good example. If there's like 8 looters rolling around, you get them, you get rep out of it, you get maybe some prisoners, not worth tons, but like something. Get a little bit of gear, maybe a good weapon or two, and you just sort of build things out that way on your way to visiting a town. And then you visit the town, you talk to all the relevant people there, and it's very good in 2 because all the relevant people are sort of in tabs at the top of your screen on the town screen, as opposed to having to walk in around the towns to find each person. You can just sort of see them very quickly. You chat with them, or you can go to if it's a big city, you can go to the keep and bribe your way into the keep and try to talk to some of the lords, and the lords have quests that are worth more and worth significantly more reputation and stuff like that. And it's just it does a good job, I think, of casually incentivizing the sort of incremental build up that you want out of a game where the rags to riches story. I think it does a really good job. And I think Sid Meier's Pirates is the perfect fucking analogy, because you start off in that with like a shitty little boat, and then eventually you've got a giant galleon, and you're going to ports, and the governor's asking you to marry their daughter and all that kind of shit. It's similar to this. I'm trying to secure fucking the empire that I aligned myself with, because it's the one I spawned in. The Southern Empire is constantly under attack from both sides, and so my dude is just trying to help wage the war. And I fucking got shit tons of reputation because I managed to take some lords hostage, and it worked out really well. There's like an execute function. You can execute lords if you take them hostage, or you can ransom them, and they're worth so much fucking money. I think these 2 lords that I managed to capture were worth my entire fucking net worth, like twice over in ransom. So obviously I ransomed them, but there was an execute function. I was like, what if I were to execute? What would happen? Like, would I get a shit ton of reputation or what? I'm not sure. One day I'll be rich enough to just fucking murder cunts, and that's the dream. But it's a good game. It's janky. It's not as polished as it should be, but it is early access, so I guess it is as polished as it should be for an early access game. They're doing fuck tons of updates and stuff, so like it's not like they're sitting on their fucking sitting on their hands or anything. They're constantly updating it. They're not huge updates necessarily, but if you ever owned any of the Mountain Blade games as well, you can get 20% off,
right?
Which drops it to about $55 as opposed to the 70 Australian that it is by default. Honestly, the amount of time I have put into Mountain Blade games over the years, I definitely think I happily give them my $55 off the get-go. But also, I feel like I'm already on my way to earning, to making it worth the price of admission. Just based on the fact that I literally don't even know what happened to 4 hours of my fucking game. It just disappeared.
You got Heath.
I got fucking Heath. I got a skull fracture. But yeah, no, it's good fun, and it's definitely worth a look if you're into that sort of thing. If the idea of Sid Meier's pirates, but instead of being a pirate, you're a fucking peasant
Yeah.
in medieval Europe, appeals to you, I think it's worth a look. The only real problem is that I don't think you would like. It's constructed in such a way that I don't think you'd have a. There's no way you could use the 2-hour return window in it. You know, like on Steam, I don't think you can play it for less than 2 hours and have a good idea of whether or not it's going to be for you. Because so much of what like it involves doesn't really kick in until like I said, I've joined the siege, but I'm not really a part of the siege yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm just sort of a soldier in the army, and you get a glimpse at what would happen if you were involved in the construction of the siege, but you don't really get to take part in it. So I can see there is a lot more to the siege yet that I haven't been able to do. I did push a battering ram up to a door though, and that was pretty cool. Well,
Right.
arrows rained down, and then we fucked the people up on the inside. We fucked them up.
So are these stories, or are they like scenarios that you're sort of going through?
Scenarios and sort of randomly generated storyline type things.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things where the factions have their own like, I guess, motivations, and how those motivations interact determine what they will do, and their resources and all that stuff like changes all that kind of stuff. So there's not really a storyline as like you're a dude and you got to find your fucking. I think your siblings have been kidnapped or something. I don't fucking know. That didn't matter to me 4 minutes after I finished the tutorial. Like I had to go fucking. It's like, oh, it's your brother's with you, and your siblings have been kidnapped, and your parents were killed, and then I'm like, okay, well, I gotta find them, and then I got into the overworld, and I'm like, fuck them, I'm gonna go take these sheep to this city or some shit. Yeah. Yeah. So
Cool.
no real story. You just sort of do things, but it's
Yeah.
awesome.
Fair enough.
Yep.
All right. Anything else you want to add? Or are you good?
I don't think so. I'm going to play it some more, so I'll probably talk about it next week and stuff.
Cool.
Yep.
All right. Let's do some news. That's all the games. Some big piece of news here. Sony revealed the DualSense controller for the PlayStation 5. They kind of just dropped it on a blog. Yeah. I think I was up and I saw it come through and I was like, okay, that's weird. It might have been after the Xbox conference that they did the other day. I can't really remember. It just sort of popped up on my feed. I was like, all right, fair enough.
I just woke up and it was there.
So yeah, they've dropped the DualShock name, I guess, going away from that, moving across to the DualSense. This particular piece of hardware, we know it's got haptic feedback inside. They've talked about that before. There's the two L2 and R2 triggers also are adaptive triggers now. So before they were kind of just classified as buttons, but now they'll have, I guess, pressure sensitive triggers on them. So it'll know how far down they're being pressed. So that's a change they're putting in there. They've, I guess, renamed some of the buttons that are on there. So there's now a create button as opposed to the share button that was there. I never used it. I mean, it was basically there to take screenshots and videos, share clips and that sort of thing. Occasionally I jump in there and do it, but not really. Not really for me. They also have a built-in microphone on there now.
This seems like a bad idea to me, right? Like the microphone built in.
Having always on.
Right? Like it's already bad enough when, it's always on, but it feels like it's just going to get worse, doesn't it? Right.
I don't know. Maybe it's just... Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
We will see.
What's going on with this. I think that's about the major changes. The only other major change is that the light bar is now on top of the device as opposed to on the back. So the light bar was the colored sort of display that would pop up on the back.
Yeah.
But for the most part, everything else is pretty similar, except for the design. It's more in line of like a mix between an Xbox controller and a PlayStation controller.
Yeah, it's not. I think it looks like the fucking Pro, the Switch Pro controller,
Right.
a little bit. You know, like I don't know. I think the white might lead people to think it's more Xboxy, but I think it's pretty pro-y. I don't know.
I think the shape of it just looks more like they've thickened it out a bit.
Yeah,
A lot more.
but it's still like symmetrical
Yeah.
thumbsticks, which is my preference, my personal preference.
Mm-hmm.
Which is good. Yeah, it looks kind of chunky. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it. I like the sort of two-tone color code thing that they're going for, especially like getting custom controllers and sort of what those will look like. I think it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
But I know some people didn't like the design. I think it's fine. I seem to think it's a lot more interesting than the PlayStation controller, at least the original one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's cool. Is the PlayStation button, is that the new home button?
I think so. And then there's a mute button below it
Right.
for the microphone.
Like the 11-year-olds are never going to fucking touch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know, man. I think it's really cool. I'm interested to see. I guess now we've got an idea of maybe what this console will look like. It ain't gonna be black. I don't think it's gonna be black.
True. That is true. Yeah, I like it as well. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to tell. I'd want to hold it before I made final judgment. I think it's one of those things where you got to have it in your hands because, like, it's hard to get a sense of the depth, I guess, of it all. Like even the side-on pictures make, I don't know, it just looks like the buttons might be a little too flush.
Sure.
I feel
You
like
want to
they
see
need
how
be
deep
quite
those
raised.
buttons go.
I need them to be quite raised, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It looks like it's
I've seen some developers posting photos and comments about it, saying that they've tried it and it feels good.
yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, it sort of makes it all feel a little bit more real. You know, the idea that we're actually going to get a fucking new console maybe this year. Maybe.
Maybe.
I mean, we're definitely not getting The Last of Us 2.
Yeah. So this is also an announcement they made. The Last of Us Part 2 and also Iron Man VR have been delayed indefinitely. Obviously, the one here that most people care about is going to be the Last of Us Part 2 game. The interesting thing about this is that they've delayed this game. They don't have a date. But the next move that Sony did was refund everybody that pre-ordered the game digitally.
Yep.
Which is a massive move. That makes me come to think that this is no longer a PlayStation 4 title. That they
very much agree.
Yeah. This is going to be a PlayStation 5 possibly launch game now. I mean, we know that a lot of the games are already going to run, so they could be shifting their focus across to a lot of that. Like getting it up and running and then also doing another pass on the graphics and that sort of stuff. But by them doing automatic, like they're not just offering refunds like, oh, you can get your money back. They've automatically given people their money back, which is, that's what makes me think that this isn't coming down anytime soon.
No, 100%. Yeah, I think this is definitely getting pushed back to a PS5 launch. Does that mean we're definitely not getting Last of Us 2 this year? Maybe not. I mean, if it is a PS5 game, maybe it comes out at launch. It'd be quite the fucking launch title, you know. It'd be a big dick fucking move for a launch title, because I think we're used to. So the reason I think it's such an interesting idea for it to be a launch title is because we're used to launch titles kind of being garbage.
Yeah.
Like we give the launch titles a lot of fucking like wiggle room, and we're like, oh yeah, but it's a launch title, so no, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's okay that it's not really up to what I expected.
But it looks
But
awesome.
The Last of Us, yeah, it looks gorgeous and it really showcases the power of the machine. And you're like, but what if I wanted a good game? Well, you can, fuck off.
Yeah, here's this
But
Ubisoft game.
That's Half-Life Alex, motherfucker. It's for people who've never played VR before. You fuck, you elitist. But yeah, no. Last of Us 2 is built as a generation ender, and those games are usually fucking showstoppers.
Yeah.
So I feel like it might be a big one. It might like really set a high bar. It'd be the sort of thing where Xbox would need its own counter move along the same fucking lines. Because releasing Halo Infinite, that was sort of just the Halo Master Chief Collection plus a story that's being updated along the way. I don't think it would cut it. Or the first chapter of Obsidian's new thing, or whatever. Like, I think it would draw a pretty significant line in the sand.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and then kind of like, what's the plan? Do they then go, all right, well, we've got this on the PlayStation 5, we can run it at, I don't know what resolutions they're going before, but what if they're like, let's do it 14, let's do 1440p, and it's going to run at 60 frames. And we'll do a bit of a pass on the graphics, they're not as rendered down or whatever. And maybe that'll give them the way through for that as a PlayStation 5 launch game. That just seems to me like a better idea. On top of that, then you've got the problem of people that want to play this, like, not as many units. I don't know. Does the game sell as much? Can they afford to have it on a PlayStation 5 game, or do they just do backwards compatibility with it? Is it now a PlayStation 4 and a PlayStation 5 game at the same time? It's gonna be weird.
Yeah.
I feel like it ends up being both, but it's got a PlayStation 5 launch game. Like, you can play it on both.
Yeah.
That seems like the smartest thing to do here.
Yep.
All right. Also talking about, do you have any comments about Iron Man VR? Were you looking?
I don't care.
No, don't think anyone cares. The Witcher 3, I saw this news posted just before we started recording. CD Projekt Red released some annual or quarterly updates on their company. They've said that Cyberpunk is still on track for September. They've moved their entirety development team to working at home over the last month, and everything's still on track, they're saying. I guess that's the next big one that people are kind of worried about, is whether or not that is going to come out. I guess it's going to come down to logistics, right? Whether or not units can come out in time. That's sort of the problem that The Last of Us Part 2 was having. It wasn't necessarily the game wasn't going to be ready. It was we don't have a way to get the units out there to everybody at the same time. And we've kind of seen that happen with Final Fantasy over the last week, right? That got released 10 days early in Australia. Sure. It sort of trickled out in some parts of Europe, but for the rest of the world, the release date is the 10th. So in 2 days. I think it's the 10th. 2 days from now. So I guess a lot of publishers are sort of looking at that and being like, are we going to be able to get this stuff out on time? CD Projekt seem pretty confident.
They do. Yeah.
So I guess we'll see what happens with that one. But the other thing I want to talk about is that they talked about some Witcher 3 sales, and they've just had the second biggest year since release in I think it came out in 2015. It sold over 7 million copies last year, that game.
Damn.
There's a lot.
That is fucking huge.
That's on top of. So I guess the bump here was they had the Switch version which came out, which did a decent chunk, but
Right.
that must have something to do with the film, right? Sorry, the TV show.
TV show, yeah. Cavill hooked him up, got him going.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. The amount of people I know who either revisited or played for the first time, so many fucking people, like got so into The Witcher off the back of the Netflix series. So yeah, it was a solid move. That's one of those things where you're like, hey, does a really good like TV show or movie, does that translate into more sales? Maybe they should try to do that more.
Yeah.
Weird. Nah, just let fucking Michael Fassbender's film company do whatever the fuck they want. I don't know. Whatever, who cares?
What did he do? Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed. Fucking Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. All right, and next up, E3 is officially cancelled for 2020.
Sconzo.
Yeah. So they previously said that they were, I guess, suspending it, something like that, and looking at hosting it at some other stage during the year, or even potentially doing a digital sort of event. They've now confirmed that that is no longer happening. They'll be back in 2021. They've got dates for when they'll be back. They're saying it's going to be their biggest year ever. And they're revamping the show. There's some talks coming out behind this announcement saying that they were looking at doing a digital show, but they couldn't get publishers to sign on board. And I guess we found out why, because IGN is hosting what they're calling the Summer of Gaming. And they've got a bunch of publishers on board to talk about a bunch of games that will be releasing over the next year or two. So yeah, IGN kind of sharked it under them, out of their legs.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to unpack on this one. Hey, like I think it's a tricky one because I think like it'd have to be worrying, right? It'd have to be worrying if you were a small site, like because you're sort of stuck just doing like
regurgitating.
What IGN said. Yeah. But at the same time, I think it's also a very unique opportunity for you to showcase why you're not IGN, because IGN is, I've done a lot of work for IGN, and some quite recently, and IGN is as a massive site, it is burdened by its success. The ability that a small site has is often its agility, its ability to do dramatically different things, and IGN can't always get away with doing that sort of thing. It can't get away with doing something that is wildly off center necessarily. I mean, that's not to say that they don't do some fantastic things, and I really I don't know if you watched their Hearthstone thing.
The stuff with Cam, that stuff.
Yeah, that was fucking awesome. He followed with them for 7 months over the course of creating the Demon Hunter hero.
Sure.
They fucking killed it with that. That was fucking awesome, right? That's different, but that's high budget stuff. That's big thinking stuff. And I think the opportunity exists for smaller sites to really showcase what they do different. If what they've been trying to do is be IGN, then they're in trouble, 100%. I think they're in a really tricky position. But
sure.
If what they're trying to do is showcase local writers or showcase, off the wall ideas and points of view, then I don't think this impacts them all that much. Provided IGN don't deep dick people on the streams and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If they get hyper litigious about shutting down people reusing their streams and stuff, then
Yeah.
yeah, then that's a whole other case. But I don't think that they will, because they haven't shown a tendency to do that before.
Yeah.
Obviously they'll be trying to create their own content. But yeah, I think the opportunity still exists to create content off the back of it. And
right. And it also makes for very narrow or one-sided dialogue, or at least impressions, right? You go to an E3 or whatever, it's obviously a controlled experience, but there's different opinions of like, oh, I had fun with this, whatever, whereas this is probably not going to be IGN sitting next to a developer being like, this game doesn't feel that great.
I don't think this is going to be like that. I think this is going to be much more curated than the more traditional E3 showcase experience.
Sure.
Because I think publishers and developers want that broader range. They want that broader range of opinions, and just handing it all to IGN, I don't think that works out for them.
Yeah.
Because there are certain elements on IGN that have a tendency to review games at scores much lower than they would prefer. And while they haven't let me review anything lately, there is more than just Joab out there, okay? Not much, but there are. IGN is still an independent outlet. They were one of the lowest scores for Final Fantasy VII on embargo.
Mm-hmm.
They don't just toe the company line all the time, and so I don't think that it would be wise for publishers or developers to hand all of that over to IGN. But yeah, you are right. Like if it does wind up being, that's it, right? We don't fucking know enough, I guess. We don't know enough about what this is going to be to really say one way or another how it's going to go. I err on the side of believing that people it will be good. I think it's going to be a good thing.
Yeah.
It's one of my rare bouts of optimism, I suppose. But I think it will be a good thing. And I generally believe things will be good until I'm proven wrong. I thought Final Fantasy VII Remake was going to be good until I was proven wrong. But I think we got to wait and see.
I feel like it's just going to be a developer, like a guided stream with someone from IGN, a developer, maybe someone playing it. Maybe not even that. Maybe just video footage and them talking, interviewing each other. They've done a bunch of those shows on the floor previous years, and I think it's just like another extension of that, like a different way of doing it. And then you look at the problems of what are the ramifications of this? What if it's really good, or it takes off, and the publishers look at it and they go, we don't need E3 anymore, because we can just do our own thing. Publishers obviously could have put on their own digital show as well, which your Xbox, your Sony, your Nintendo are already doing anyway.
Devolver Digital.
Yeah, why they don't need an ESA to be like, oh, we can give you, look at all these things we can give you, because it's obviously shifting. The market is shifting. Yeah,
that's true.
Anyway, all right, we got any questions? That's all the news.
Questions. Let's have a squiz. No, but I did see something in the best gap moments. Heath, pre-skull fracture, I assume, wrote, "Oh man, can we get more of these, please? Good times. I want to add one. Jay being adamant that something is super Japanesey, that something super Japanesey wasn't, in fact, Japanesey. Remember, that's pretty Japanesey, bro.
Yeah.
Because I remember that's pretty Japanesey, bro. That was a classic. Final Fantasy VII Remake was pretty Japanesey, bro.
Yeah.
That's good stuff, Heath.
Thanks for the belated.
It's almost like you never damaged your head or anything. No questions. Let's wrap it up.
That's it. All right, The Gap, the GA podcast, The Gap podcast. You can find us on iTunes, Android, Windows Store, Spotify. Did I say YouTube? YouTube, again. All your favorite podcast apps.
Double YouTube.
We're back on iTunes. We disappeared for a little while there, but we're back on it. It's working now. I've checked, and we're there. We're listed on iTunes. So if you couldn't find us, don't worry about it. We're there now. You can email us.
We migrated, right? We migrated to a new host, right?
Yeah, so we've moved our RSS feed to a new host.
So I don't know how you would be listening to this if your RSS feed fucked up.
Yeah, but if you did,
but if somehow that happened, yeah, you should probably just check your RSS feed, I guess.
Well, we've got multiple. We've got so we checked. We switched it across a couple days back, and it seemed to be working from what I could tell.
As far as I can tell,
We've got our Patreon RSS feed, which is a different feed.
Okay.
And we haven't actually uploaded anything to this new feed yet, but it should technically work. There was a button that could have caused us a lot of trouble, which would have like deleted the feed, which on I think one of the settings on your end, but we didn't do that, so that's good. So hopefully nobody should notice any problems. If anything, the podcast should download quicker, I guess, from now on. But yeah, we're just tidying some stuff up to make sure we could be seen on certain podcast platforms a bit better.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're not changing the name, so we're still gonna, you still have to fucking dig deep to find us because we haven't really done anything good there.
Not on iTunes. You can just click the button and we're on the page. Front page iTunes on
course.
Video games.
Baby. Yeah. All day, baby.
Top 15. You can go to facebook.com/GA podcast, twitter.com/GA podcast. You can find us on social media. You can email us, thegapodcast@gmail.com, or you can go to our Discord page, thegapodcast.com/Discord. You can jump in and leave us some comments like Heath did. Maybe sooner, though, this time.
A little bit more timely.
Yeah. You can also jump onto our YouTube page, thegapodcast.com/YouTube, if you want to watch some videos of us growing an immense amount of hair everywhere now that we're locked up everywhere. But last week we had some videos go up of Call of Duty. I put some Borderlands footage up, and I think I put some Risk of Rain up as no, I didn't put Risk of Rain up. I've recorded some for this week. Put some Predator Hunting Grounds up.
Sweet.
So that was good. Some good stuff. So yeah, this week I'll chuck up some Risk of Rain 2 footage and maybe some more Call of Duty if I've got any saved. I'm not sure. I'll have to check it out. Some COD's action. But anyway, that's all thanks to our Patreon members, because you can go to our website, thegapodcast.com. They host all of our things. They help things running. Patreon members, if you want to help support the show, you can go to patreon.com/GApodcast. Help us pay the bills. Thank you very much. You're helping us get new hosting now.
Yeah. Which is pretty awesome.
Yep.
And you are the best. Yes.
Absolutely. I guess we're on Podbean as well now. I don't know what the sites are. The gapodcast.podbean.com.
Fuck, we're good at this.
Yeah, the gapodcast.com. No, the gapodcast.podbean.com. That's the site.
Okay.
And you can go to that. You can follow it if you want, or you can just keep listening the same way you do every week, and it should work. Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, Pocket Casts. How do you listen, Joab?
I barely listen when I'm on it. Like,
fair enough.
Fuck out of here.
Yeah. All right, that's it. You got anything you want to spruik for this week?
Just head to my Twitter at JobyJojo, and I guess you'll see a video of me squealing because a jaguar attacked me.
Right. Oh, we can put some green hell. I recorded some green hell.
Nice.
There you go. You can find me twitter.com/LukeLawrie, LAWRIE. I think that is it for this week. Next week, we've got more video games, I hope. Final Fantasy.
100%.
More green hell.